Greetings, brothers and sisters in roleplay. It is I, Marcus Aurelius, leader of the Holy Church of Roleplay. Now understand that the will to grow tired and weak, that creativity might falter and grow stale, that those who rise against you and beat you down, but hearken to me, my brothers and sisters. The spark will return. What is the spark? I can hear you asking. I'm glad you did. Truly, I am. It is the driving force of will, creativity, and strength one needs in order to carry on through the boundless joys and the most holiest of its creations, a role play. The spark can be fleeting, but if you seek it, you should try new things, meet new people, try new games, and one day, brothers and sisters, it will return. And if it doesn't, well, we have for the low, low price of $99.99 per session. The Church of the Holy Roleplay has classes to remind you what you're missing, and also a bake sale next week to repave the parking lot. Join us every Saturday at the Church of Holy Roleplay.
This is...
Or else.
You're listening to RPMMO Radio.
Does internet porn know you're cheating on it?
Where entertainment and roleplay in MMORPGs have little hybrid mutant babies.
Make a note of this. Dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow, dishonor on your whole family.
And now, here's your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, Civ, Jazz, Strafe, and Yunfei.
Everybody off. We need to go on a quick adventure.
Hello, role players, and welcome to RPMMO Radio, our 97th episode. RP's so good it make you want to slap your mama!
Which isn't recommended, ever.
Unless the RP is good, or the chicken is also very good.
Unless you want to get slapped back by your mama.
Yeah, because your mama will probably slap the taste out of your mouth. I would not recommend it.
Not that chicken. It's so good. Well.
Weirdo.
What was that from? Fridays, I think?
Yes.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Yep, I can watch that movie 1,000 times. Never gets old.
All right. Well, appreciate everybody for tuning in. We do this almost every Saturday here at twitch.tv/RPMO Radio, 7 Central Time. Want to thank everybody for tuning in. I, of course, am Ashen Phoenix, and with me is Jazz, Sib, Strafe, and the Yunfei. Appreciate you guys being here. Yeah. Oh. The rare spawn. Quick, kill her!
She got that loot, bro.
That's right. You know what you have to kill her for is to get the fairy wings to actually make the glitter effect on your relic weapon.
Wait, me?
What?
He just clues in. That's fantastic.
Wait, what?
Yeah, we're talking about you, darling. We're going to rip off your wings.
Mm-hmm. Gormal just want them wings because he's going to barbecue it just so. Right. He promised to share.
I pawned those a while ago.
It's a dry rub. So
it's a dry rub.
You know it.
Jeez.
So, speaking of dry rubs.
Awkward silence.
What?
I was waiting to see what you'd follow that up with.
Oh, I just let your imagination fill it in. It's way worse than anything I said.
True story.
So, how's everybody doing this last 2 weeks? Going all right? Doing good? All right, that's fantastic. Nobody cares.
We're here. We'll just
we're here.
Now
after my shitty 2 weeks, and I'm part of the reason why we missed last time. So.
Yeah, it's all right. The other part of it was Strafe, because of course he was strangely enough, Strafe. Real quick question: is it true that the last time you were seen was actually in the neighborhood of Jeffrey Epstein, and then all of a sudden he miraculously killed himself? Is that how I remember that going down?
I mean, we can't discuss things openly on RPMMO Radio. Suffice to say, I did have to go out of town.
Right.
I got new tires. And they roll really good.
Interesting. So, and how did you buy those new tires? Wouldn't be with a large sum of money that was suddenly put into your account randomly from the Cayman Islands, right?
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Cayman sounds like alligator to me, bro. And that's Gormal's. That's Gormal's sphere of influence. What are you talking about?
Wow. Not to go into politics here, but I'm gonna, because when they came out with that thing yesterday about it was classified as a suicide. I clicked on all the links on YouTube for Fox News, for CBS, MSNBC, ABC, all of the news stations, and every single one of the videos that was reporting on that completely downvoted, and nobody was buying it. It was when it was like 10 or 20% were like, yeah, that makes sense, and all the comments were hysterical. It's like,
we're not that stupid, guys. It's a little too convenient, thanks.
It's like the power circle, and you can wreck.
Oh yeah,
people in high positions of power. Yeah, the dude's going to disappear.
Yeah, it's funny because it doesn't matter. It was like I said, I clicked on all of them, left, right. Fringe media, nobody was upvoting that stuff. Like, oh yeah, that makes absolute sense. Of course, the guy strangled himself with a paper bed sheet in a place that has no place to hang a bed sheet.
I mean, this is one of the odd things when the Matrix messes up and they're like, oh gosh, they can see past the mirror.
Right.
Like, yes, we see it. No, you didn't. He totally killed himself. Like, yeah.
See, and that's what happened was that there was a glitch in the Matrix, and when he was trying to hang himself, suddenly for that one blink of an eye, he fell 2 stories, and it went from paper to actual fabric, snapped his neck, and then popped him back up because it was a rubber band due to lag in the Matrix.
The cameras didn't work, and the dudes were taking a nap.
Yeah, that was just, I was like, really? That's what you're going with the cameras not work? I mean, I am not a conspiracy theorist person.
You don't need to be.
I'm just like, really? I mean, when I first heard the news, my kid came and told me about it, and I was like, are you kidding me? He's like, no, Mom, look, somebody killed him.
And here's the deal. If this was a role play story, we would be like, come on, man. There's no way for this to happen. We took all the means for them to kill themselves in the cell. You can't kill yourself like that in our guild hall. That's not possible.
Yep, we have had that conversation.
We would be like, you have to undo that. Nobody, it's not, frankly, I appreciate your effort, but the story isn't believable.
But actually,
and yet, in real life... And don't get me wrong. And don't get me wrong.
I don't think anybody believes that he killed himself. They're not even trying to make it look good.
And here's the thing. It couldn't have happened to a better guy.
Oh, exactly.
A more deserving individual has probably very rarely received what he had coming in such short fashion. But I don't think it's going to stop a lot. So, but it was good to see both the left and the right and people of all walks
Everybody
of life
united over hating this guy.
What the fuck?
I think the funniest part was everyone's like, yeah, no, he didn't kill himself, but good riddance, who the fuck cares?
I think the first comment in every section was, so how much did the coroner get?
Yeah, no kidding. I'm just going to put it out there. The Enclave, you're looking at it. I'm just
right,
saying.
No joke. Oh, but so anyway, that is your unbiased political moment, and everybody, just remember that for one day, everybody on every side, regardless of who you think have done it, was all like, oh, no, he didn't. No, he was suicided.
We can all agree that was not a suicide. Y'all think we're that stupid. It's not. No.
I think the best phrase I saw that came out of that was some chick locally told the local radio host, oh, yeah, that guy was just suicided.
Oh, gosh.
Yep.
So anyway, but just saying, if you're going to kill somebody in the real world, maybe hire a role player so you could at least get
if you really want to make it a convincing,
yeah, like
at least try, guys.
You'd have been better if you had made it Slock off Smirnoff, like pick him up by his underwear and his shoulder and just slam his head into the door and make it look like he just ran into it really hard like a stupid pug, That would have been more realistic. But no.
Ask your question. I'm not saying that my student loans are gone, but I mean, I got more breathing.
But you're not saying that they aren't. Right. I understand. Yeah. I'm not calling you out. And I mean, honestly, you did the Lord's work. The guy was a scumbag. He had it coming. I mean, there's...
Nobody's unhappy he's dead.
No.
The good guys and the bad guys are all kind of happy. So, it's a wash.
I would I hate to be the judge of somebody's soul. It's not my place. I'm just saying he's going to burn in a fiery lake that burns but does not consume. I'm not judging him. I'm just saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just putting that out there. But it's not my place to judge. I'm just saying that's what's gonna happen.
Oh, it's my place to judge. I really wish I could have been there. I would have watched.
Just kick his bed out from under him. Anyway, so on to more fun things. We're gonna have a good episode for you. We're gonna try to keep it positive from here on out.
It's gonna be them nostalgia feels.
It's gonna be the nostalgia episodes. But before we get to that, how about a role play? It's been 2 weeks. Anybody have show of hands? Anybody that was that has like redheaded children? More than 2 redheaded children at that. Will you go raise your hand, and I'll have you go first today.
Yeah.
Huh. Is that you? That's so weird.
Are you killing Jazz?
You're killing her, bro.
I think so. No, I moved my mom's stuff out of her house today, and I saw more spiders than I think I ever want to see ever again in my life, and they all decided to come say hi to me.
Jazz?
And
Jazz,
what?
You're welcome.
Yeah, fuck you.
Anyway. Can you bring one over here? Every time I open the door, flies come in.
Geez.
Yeah, bring one of the spiders over here.
Yeah, no, my mom, she's like a sort of a hoarder. At one point, I'm laughing because they brought me these boxes, this big box full of, they're white jugs, and they have like GNC protein powder in it, but it wasn't GNC. But I mean, it's like one of those big white jugs. You see them all the time, right? There had to be 50 of them in a box.
Wow.
And they brought it to me, and they're like, so, and I just started laughing. I'm like, Mom, you and I are going to have a talk when I get into the afterlife. Well, because that was like the first box they picked up, and I was like, oh, fuck me. Well, that's what this is going to be.
She was trying to get swole. Putting on the muscle, it's what you it's what you do.
It was just everything was like, there's so much shit I have to sort through in my mom's house. I'm not looking forward to it.
So was there role play in unpacking the boxes? I'm quite curious.
Well, no, it's just
that's why she has to have a lot.
That's why I have no role play, is I have been dealing with funeral and estate and
I remember differently in the back of Trash Porch. I'm just saying.
Yes, we did have some role play 2 weeks ago. With Cial and Jail, where Jail is the bad guy. And he's relentlessly trying to screw my Toon's head up. So
it's propaganda. All right, anyway, go on. I'll stop.
Relentlessly trying to screw her head up. And it was a lot of fun. Because she's a mess because of him. And so that was good role play, and I did write a little bit from that, but it's still in the process. I won't post it yet.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for someone else to write a story first.
Me? Is it me? Can it be me?
No, it's not you.
Oh, okay.
Someone like you, though. I mean,
good looking and smart, handsome, and also very, very intelligent.
Yeah, there you go. See? So much alike. Anyway, in Tor, I did have some good role play in kind of tavern-esque in the sense that it's on the fleet. And we've had a couple people who have noticed that my Toon is active there. She has her own table. It's really kind of funny. Mm-hmm. I've taken over this one little corner.
Yeah.
And people have been like, so this is her table now, huh? Yeah, why not?
That's the thing, is you don't have to be like, this is ours. You just show up at it a lot, and it just sort of happens.
Yeah, you just show up, and that's what we've been doing, is just showing up. And when we sit at our table, people just arrive and will come and interact with her. She's had this guy that I'm not sure, Seeley, if he's truly okay with my character. Mm-hmm. He seems like he may be taking it a little personally, but it's really hard to tell.
Right.
And as you know, I don't talk to people OOC much, so I would know.
You don't ask
and nor do I care. But he's very negative against my Toon in character. And, that doesn't bother me because, Carib's a
as
pain
long
in
as
the
it
butt,
stays that way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's all fun and games until you get that tell.
Yeah. Seriously.
But I will say, too, you think you saying that, it kind of reminds me of all the mobster movies where Like, there's one Italian restaurant and one table where, like, the Don or the head mobster in the area always eats at, and nobody else is allowed to eat there, and they know that's where they could always find him. That's what that kind of reminds me of.
And that's what I'm setting it up as. Yeah. You know, this is the table that she sits at, and people know if they want to talk to Kariv, that's where they need to go.
Yeah.
And she's kind of set up there. We had the same thing at Nar Shaddaa way back in the day. There was one spot where she always sat, and people knew that if they wanted to find her, they just came to Nar Shaddaa and waited until she showed up, because that's where she would sit. And I think that for me, roleplay-wise, I found it to be very useful, because people like to be able to know what to expect in that sense.
Well, and you're easy to find not being hidden away in a house, too.
Right.
You're out in the open world, which makes a big difference.
We're out in the open world, and I've noticed in my roleplay of late in ESO, and I really have tried to, like, go to Riften and, you know, socialize in Riften, and oh my God, between the role players pretending to be trolls and the role players that really are trolls, and then the trolls
that are pretending to be role players, and
that
then the
are
trolls
pretending
that
to
are
be role
just
players.
trolls.
It's just garbage. And you know me, I don't say that lightly.
No,
I'm so proud to hear you say that. Finally,
Yeah.
saying
you're
it's
definitely
garbage.
More
even for me,
us.
I can't salvage it. It's just that bad.
Yeah,
and it's sad because the community, they've all kind of gone into their own homes and stuff.
Yeah, because people just get tired of. I mean, you wish it didn't happen, but at the same time, you can't really blame them because I
can't blame them for doing it, but I also blame the ESO. Like in Tor, for example, you say what you want about Tor, but if enough people complain about someone, they mysteriously vanish.
Right.
For, you know, a weekend or whatever. And I've noticed that when they do their little stupid harassment stuff, they then wander off fairly quickly to the next person because they figured out that if they stay too long, they get banned.
Right.
They know where the line is. And that's not the case in ESO. ESO doesn't do it. You have to, like... I had to actively work to get someone banned. And I had to work at it, like, a lot. I had to take screenshots. Multiple people had to take screenshots. I had to provide, you know, a recording.
You basically have to prove they're, like, threatening the life of some sort of sitting official in the government or foreign affairs.
It's ridiculous that I should have to go to that length to say, hey, these people are harassing us and you need to do something about it. And ESO doesn't care.
No.
They don't care about their role players. They don't, period.
Well,
period. They have absolutely no care.
From what I've seen, too, that's just general policy. Like, even, like, people when they do shit in dungeons and things like that, they just don't, their customer service portion just is
Which
lacking.
is really sad because we're usually the first ones there and we're the last ones to give up on a game.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're, and honestly, and I hate to say this because I love ESO RP and I love my RP there. I love my stories and I'm having a lot of good times. I don't see if anything even remotely better comes out, I'm gone.
You'll be
there's nothing left there because the general role play is run by juveniles, and you know I'm an old lady at this point, which you know
right, but there's still
I get it.
Like I've got there's a guild I'm in now, and I've been playing Final Fantasy 14. I'm partway. I think I'm in 4.3, 4.4.
Did you just say 14?
14.
He did.
I thought he said 14. I was like, have another drink.
14. It is 14 is of course the Latin for where is the toilet.
I see.
Just Google it.
The more you know.
I could say that Google it because I know people are lazy like me, and they'll be like, "Oh, I mean, if he's saying Google it, he has to be right." But you know, there's a lot. It's basically a university and an orphanage. It's kind of a strange combination, but it's kind of been fun. So my character's going to be a surprise to everybody here, a combat teacher. They didn't have one, so
I'm shocked.
Right? Yeah, exactly. But
I never saw this coming. How could this
they had an
possibly
opening.
happen?
It's like when I go into a game and I'm an assassin and everyone's just shocked.
Right? Yeah. But I get to, you know, I do like playing the teacher characters sometimes. But you know, there's a lot of younger characters, but they're. What I've liked about this guild so far too is even though they're younger, they play them as if they're actually kids. They're not like 80-year-old 7-year-olds or anything like that. You
Right.
know?
Like the
And
gardens
of course,
in Final Fantasy VIII, then, huh?
yeah. And one of my favorite things one of the first things I went to him was the head. I'm gonna pronounce. I call her Higgy. Everyone calls her Higgy. It's like Higura, but she had to pause in the middle of the very first thing I joined him on, which was like a history lesson in one of the areas, and she's like, "Hold on a sec," and then like a couple minutes later, she comes back. Sorry, somebody I refused to let in the guild because all they wanted to do was ERP was griping at me, and I had to handle it real quick. I'm like, yeah, I like these people already. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, which, you know, at the place with a bunch of orphaned kids and stuff, probably a good idea because that's a scary line you don't want to cross. So I've been real happy with everything I've seen with them. They've been very very entertaining. They've been a lot of fun to get to know and things like that. And it's not a very big guild. I think they're trying to. And of course, right now, Shadowbringers has only come out about a month ago, so a lot of people are still playing through the new content. So it's a little bit of a lull, but it's still been fun. But them being like that's always a good sign so far. Yeah.
Totally just interrupted chat.
Yeah, you derailed a roleplay story.
Did I? I don't even remember now. I was just listening.
You're just talking. Yeah. We're talking about your sitting spot in Star Wars.
But anyway,
then if you go to another game, I don't even know what would be.
I have been lately just kind of comparing my role play in various places, both in Tor and ESO. And I have a lot of, like, I had on Zasher, I don't play him very often, but I had some role play on Zasher, and he got kidnapped. And not kidnapped, but attacked and then taken hostage. And I signed up for it. I knew that's what was going to happen because that's the only kind of roleplay that's out there at this point. Is kind of prearranged, general, planned.
Right.
You hate that stuff.
I do, but I was desperate to have some kind of roleplay. And I was like, you know what? Sure, why not? And I have to say, I had fun. I didn't not have fun.
Yeah.
And Zasher got to be Zasher, and I got to meet some of the role players in this other guild that I put him in because he's not really a lot of new material.
Right.
And I had a good time. So, I mean, that was fun. But it really kind of underscored to me how little role play is left.
Yeah.
And that it's rapidly turning into kind of an EQ-esque kind of a situation where the role players that are left are kind of incestuous.
That's happened so fast. Like EQ, too. That took
it took 10 years for that shit.
Right.
And it's happened in ESO in 5.
Well, no, I just mean, like, even when we first got here, and started playing, what has it been now? A year and a half, 2 years when you guys...
3, dear.
Yeah. But it's really only been over, like, the last year and a half where it's turning around like that suddenly. Yeah. I wonder if how much of that has...
to like EQ at 6-7 years.
Yeah.
It's really kind of where that is, and it's not nearly that time frame.
I wonder if part of that has to do with the last 2 expansions being sort of
shit. You can say it. They were shit. And that's the problem. You can't keep role players or anybody in a game. And kids now, and I don't mean to sound like an old lady, but kids now want to be entertained by both the game and the roleplay community, and if they're not both entertaining, they leave.
Well, and that's kind of where I'm at this point too. Just the games, once you get to the end content, if you're not a raider and stuff, you're done. There's nothing to play to keep you entertained until roleplay shows up.
Right.
Yeah.
And most of the roleplay, I'd say in Tor as well. I would say most of the active roleplay in Tor, most of the active roleplay in Guild Wars 2, most of the active roleplay in ESO is planned.
Oh, yeah.
It's not all scripted, but it's all planned.
It's
all, this is going to happen. I don't know how it's going to end, but I want it to end this way.
It's play dates.
It's play dates. And I hate it. And it's going to chase me away from roleplay eventually.
That's scripted scourge.
Yeah. Yeah, like I don't, of course... Oh, go ahead, Uni.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I think the market is so saturated now that for a game to really keep you, they've got to work a little harder than they used to, which I think is why
they're not. They're actually working less now. thinking they can get away with
because
it.
they didn't have a truly atrocious expansions until like the 2 before I left were really blasé and kind of icky.
That's when they sold SOE sold out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
When
that
it
was
went to
Daybreak.
Daybreak Games, the game just went downhill fast.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that was just, who would have thought when they fired 200 employees that they couldn't pump out the same quality?
Yeah, right?
Seen that coming.
Yeah, shock, right?
Meanwhile,
who would've
World of
thunk it?
Warcraft's over there with, their entire staff of, I would assume, billions of people. And they seem to do okay every time an expansion comes out. Not everybody likes it, of course.
Well,
nobody does, but
everybody is not going to like
they
every
seem to
expansion.
be at like a 75% plus ratio of like it to not like it. At least in,
and that's
in
certainly
World
not
of
the case in
Warcraft.
ESO. A great majority of people dislike the content.
A lot of real Elder Scrolls fans that I talked to from like Sabea and some of the people around her, they're huge. They love Elder Scrolls. That's why they're there. They're not just ESO fans. They're Elder Scrolls fans.
That's why I was there at first.
And they're like, she basically said what you did, Jazz. Is like I was like, so I've heard it's kind of not so great. She's like, it's garbage. I was like, oh.
It is.
I really
it's
hope
garbage.
that it would have even the rose-colored glasses of fans is like,
I mean,
No,
I
it was-
would love to see Elsewhere.
Elsewhere is beautiful. And I do like fighting dragons. And I have to say, it is really cool to fight the dragon. It is. The artwork in the game has always been beautiful. And I can't fault them with that. But the content, the classes, the necromancer, which is just evil warden, it's dumb.
I heard that.
Really?
It's just dumb. It's just absolutely worthless. It's if you play necromancer, and I have a necromancer, and I'm probably going to delete her actually, because necromancer is garbage. It's just warden. That's all it is. It's warden with temporary pets, and it's garbage.
Zombies.
Yeah.
They retooled it and didn't make it as cool as, like, let's say EQ1 or EQ2 necromancers. And
Necromancy is supposed to be cool. How do you screw that up?
You're allowed to be edgy and dark and wall-leany, and yet you didn't do it. You kind of
they just did a bad job. Just
a
bad job.
In the spirit of interrupting, I think we've gone way out in the weeds from what have we done in role play.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
That's
true. Yeah. All right.
And I thought this was supposed to be positive.
But
Okay.
but bear in mind, I will tag on to Jazz's stuff during my turn. But
all right. Well,
carry on.
since you're going to tag on to it.
Yeah, go
away.
ahead.
So yes, we did do the role play in the back of Trask's little courtyard area. Pretty much, was it the guild meeting or was it poetry hour?
It was poetry hour, I think.
No, it was.
Yeah, 'cause
it was the guild meeting because I think our Canadian Ixar / Argonian was singing and dancing on the stage, right?
That's right.
Eric.
Okay, it was guild meeting. So I had Jail show up to Trask's house, and he was just wandering around, purposely touching everything that had a ward, and doing it just so he'd drive Sia out of her skin. And I had Trask sitting there at the event, and every time I did something with Jail, she would literally jump out of her chair almost, and people were starting. It was starting to cause a scene, and I was loving it. At length,
it was fun.
Jail settled himself down on that nice overview porch that it looked like an orc almost built it, but it was still just so. And of course, it lured out Sia. And she, of course, despite the last two talks where I've calmed her down, showed her the error of her ways, tried to show her the truth of things. Immediately, it was the same line of accusations. Don't hurt Trask. What are you doing here? He's going to kill you. I will kill you. I will end. It just gets tiresome. I said, did we learn nothing, apprentice, from the last two talks, of which you seemed fine when you left last time? This set her off on edge. Of course, Trask did lurk in, and she started being beside herself with fear that something was going to happen. Little did she know, there was a barrier set up, an award, set up by shadows, where we could sit there and be unseen. And I just wanted her to watch her dear teacher. Watch him as he vainly looked for any little clue, strove madly And all he found in each instance, when he first lost his dear Farah, a pair of Bosmer eyes watching from the distance. The next time came when they went to go save the Pale Orc. Trath, of course, activated his artifact, was looking around the memory. And again, what did he find? Perched up just above the ruins. Pail of Bosmer eyeballs. Not unlike his feral student. This went on for hours. Of course, this upset her. But she needed to see what was going to happen to her. Because I know my brother. He plays nice and proper. But once his mind has been concluded, he will come after her next. And I'm just simply trying to spare her from this, you understand. Again, she was having none of this. But the lesson was there. I then caught wind of her friends skulking around and decided to make my way out. Ironically, I saw them fleeing like rats as soon as I mentioned, someone is near. That was a bit charming. And then I left her to see Trath wandering around his garden. And that's what I did in roleplay. That's like 2 weeks ago. The end.
Yes.
But
And
That ended rather abruptly, didn't it?
It
Sid?
did
Yeah,
end
it was a very abrupt ending.
well, because then it cut into Trath roleplay, and she pretty much sent him home because he was wandering around sleep deprived in his house. Trath, and
She was like, "You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here."
and then yes, pretty much. And he said, "Let me open a portal for you, teacher." And Trath's like, "Oh yes, I don't know why I was sleeping here in my garden. This is a strange bit of." She opened up a portal. Trath walked through it, and suddenly, what CL heard before it closed was, "I had been waiting here 2 hours. 2 hours. You were supposed to get the roasted pork." And then it was sudden some kind of sad Altmer excuse, and the portal closed. I thought it was funny. But to tag onto what Jazz said, yes, it is getting kind of EQ2-ish in the ESO. Part of the roleplay decline is, and I'll own it. I've just not been, I think since the burnout, I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. Like I try to go there and play, and I get a little bit, okay, I get it going, I get the roleplay thing going. Then I'm just like, why am I doing this? I'm not feeling it.
Right.
And I'm trying. I'm like halfway back into the place where I was, but
I think
it's been hard, man. I don't know what it is.
I think a lot of it is if you're just not enjoying the game itself too. I think that's like if you had a lot of stuff to look forward to play as you were playing too. Right. I think that's a big chunk of it. It really is.
And see, I didn't buy elsewhere yet because life has been pretty rough lately. I do a bunch of real life stuff.
Right.
It's taking my resources and time away. So that's probably definitely
really
because
I heard earlier in the show that you actually should be pretty flush in cash.
Well,
So
again, that was only recently, and
okay. Just checking.
Talking about weeks before this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But I mean, it's hard because it's the old syndrome of SWG. There was a moment where you'd log in. Oh man, we're gonna do this. We're gonna go hunt some enraged rancors. Whatever. You get the idea, right?
Right. And then roleplay would come up, and you'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to do that instead. I could do this next time," and you'll do that next time, But you had something to do.
Right. But then you get to that point, and it happened to be in SWG. It happened to be in EQ2, and it's kind of happened to be in ESO, where you log in and you're in Theed, and you're like, you're watching yourself stand around for 5 minutes, like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Like, why did I log in?
It's kind of like when you're looking at your Netflix queue and you're like, but you don't have a series. You're in between, and you're like,
there's all this stuff to watch, and you're like, none of this. No,
I don't want to. I've already seen that one. I've heard that one's only okay. Maybe there's something else I'd rather watch. And then an hour and a half later, you're like, and now it's time for bed.
You're still flicking.
See, and I still log in. And I'm trying to get Mayra involved. Like she had sent her people to go find. So I gave her some bones. Okay, your people found this. I sent her a tell. She didn't act on it that day.
Right.
So I was like, maybe she doesn't care. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And of course, poetry. I was late to my own event because patch.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I was like, all right, well, I still made it, but it was the tail end of it. And then I made up some excuse for, I had to go pick up some random item, and I'm going to be skinned alive by Pale Orc. I got to go.
Yep. The toilet was overflowing. I was late. Sorry. Plumbing issue. Nobody ever does plumbing.
Was it Sia, Jazz, or was it Kia that was sending him talking over the amulet, saying, "Hey, Jail's really trying hard to do this, and this," and of course she mentioned
that was Kia. Sia doesn't really talk over the amulet. She doesn't trust it.
I don't trust her. No, no, no. She still hasn't met with her father to talk. That's going to happen. It's going to be fun. But of course, that's a hot button with Trath. As soon as you mention that name, he's automatically on the defensive. He's like, oh yeah, cool. Time to go home and batten everything down. Bye. Pretty much what happened.
Your mom.
But yeah, so no, it's been fun. But at the same time, I don't know what it is. Trying to get into it. I'm like looking at my like list of events I want to do. I'm like, okay, Romeo's bought in. Ericus is bought in. Myra's kind of bought in. I don't know. I can't explain it.
Yeah, it's a weird
Maybe
thing.
it's burnout.
Yeah, I'm basically. It's just it comes
And
from
when
a
you
lot
log
of
into
different
ESO
places.
just to claim your daily stuff and then train your horse, and I'm like, okay, cool. Back to something else.
All right. Well, what about you, Sibbies? Anything?
No, I haven't. Well,
You did
I
have
haven't
one
heard-
thing, actually.
I played D&D,
Yes, you did.
and I
Oh,
had a lot of
sweet.
fun. Yeah, it was. I think it was last weekend. Yeah, everybody was.
Yeah,
It would have been last
was
Saturday when we
jazzing.
didn't have the show, yeah.
Mr. Faye weren't around, so but me and our DM and another player had like a small little event, and it was really a lot of fun until the very end, which I got super upset because my Discord went down, and we were at the last boss, the last fight,
Oh.
and I was like, I can't get back in.
Yeah, I had to.
You know what happened to her, right, Ashton?
I came home and she was like, "Dang it!" I said, "Hold on," and I unplugged it and I plugged it back in and it fixed it.
You know what she experienced, though, bro?
What?
She experienced the ye olden days of you're in Lower Guck.
Mm.
The Frenzied Lord has just spawned. You're like, dude, we're gonna get that flowing black silk sash or that short sword you cash it. It's gonna be epic.
Been disconnected.
You're in the middle of the fight.
Yep.
And someone calls you on your freaking dial-up network internet. And you disconnect, and you don't know if you're dead or alive by the time you get back.
Mhm.
I was very, very unhappy though. But
Yeah.
we had a lot of fun. It was a little tavern thing. We, of course, after we were all done, we realized we did not even introduce ourselves, so we still don't know, our names. And I play a little gnome, and her name is Hare, and she's kind of, I think. Did I read her story yet?
No, you did not.
I think I.
You didn't. I
have.
don't think you had it completely done last time because that was 2 weeks ago. So
Okay,
That's true.
I'll read her a little. It's just a real short little backstory,
okay.
and it says, "Here was the only daughter of Zelphas and Arkiri Turin, which I don't know how to pronounce her own parents' names.
That you made up.
That you made up, no less.
I didn't think I was going to be reading this story. She worked and lived with them, learning the trade of gem cutting. But she loved to make small mechanical creatures, sometimes a bird, maybe a dog, maybe a mythical dragon. All her creatures were little and never amounted to more than a child's toy. She just had a pure love of seeing her miniature machines move and come to life, as if they had a life of their own till the small key needed to be wound up again to bring them back. When she turned 65 of age, she set out to make her own way and start a life on her own. She traveled about and bumped into a human named Shay Talonheart, who she traveled with for many years. Shay taught her how to use the sword and shoot a bow. Talonheart loved Hare's small mechanical creations and was always amazed at how lifelike they became when you simply turned the key to wind them up. Talonheart was actually the one that gave Hare her nickname. She said the way she moved when they hunted reminded her of a small hare. The soft, delicate hops, then the swift, graceful leaps. Not to mention she was so small she could move quickly in the underbrush just like a rabbit. After many years of traveling and adventuring together, the two finally parted ways, for Talonheart had fallen in love. The friends parted on excellent terms, and Hare promised if she ever came back to the small village that her friend and her new husband lived, she would stop in and visit. Since then, she's been traveling with caravans along the Sword Coast, selling her finely cut gems and small mechanical clockworks. Happily, still seeing the world and its occupants. But that's my little gnome, and I really had a lot of fun playing her. It was
Yeah.
we're doing it on Roll20, and it's something new,
Right.
because I'm used to the book and
She's
playing.
being nice. It's janky.
It's not as janky. I mean, I didn't have as much trouble as some people with it, but it's been a lot of
Like who, for example?
She
I'm not
put
gonna
that
say
out there, didn't she?
I'm not gonna say no names.
Nice one indeed.
But no, it's really neat. I mean, the DM has went to a lot of work to make it like a game board in the game, and I know he's really been trying to, make it really interactive.
Yeah.
And we can move our characters on Roll20. I don't know if anybody's ever used it, but I like it. I thought it was a lot of fun. But they went into a tavern to investigate. They both had coins that they were given, and they both ended up in the same tavern looking around, and so happened the innkeeper / tavern owner had a rat problem, and he offered a week's night stay at the tavern if somebody would go down and rid him of his rat problem. And when we got down there, we found out it was more than just rats. It was walking, speaking rats.
Oh,
We're rats.
Where rats?
And they had, they could use magic, weapons. It was fun. But we ended up defeating the rat shaman at the very end, and we still don't know each other's names. I'm a gnome. The other character was a dragonborn.
Hey, you with the wings.
The DM went with he took a bard in, so we actually had 3. But no, that was my thing, and I'm looking forward to playing again. I think this weekend coming up.
Yeah. Every 2 weeks, you said it was?
Every 2 weeks. But I wish it was more, because we went and out with some friends that played D&D. They play once a week last night, and he was telling me his stories, and I was like, I want to play so bad. I want to play now.
Yeah.
But no, it's fun. I enjoyed it.
They even had the typical one player that was like, they rolled up a halfling and he was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a halfling so that I could pretend like I'm a child. And then it doesn't work like that, because people in the world know what fucking halflings are, and they don't think furry-feeted little freaks or half like small children. And now they all call him like little baby names and stuff.
Yeah.
And now he gets all, what was it? He gets all, no, stop. Don't make fun of me.
But he's a halfling that wears shoes, okay?
Yeah, I mean...
But no, it was funny to listen to him tell the stories of them, because they haven't been playing but like 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
And he was saying that the DM told him not to take his horse on the adventure. And he's like, no, I'm taking my horse because I just got it and I'm really excited. And I said, you always listen to the DM. Always.
If he gives you helpful advice.
Right outside the town when they left, the DM killed his horse.
Of course. Rocks fall from the sky, horse dead.
And so he was carrying his saddle. And so
because it was pristine.
Yeah, it was pristine. So I was teasing him all week about carrying a saddle around during his DM game Thursday night. So, but no, it's something that's entertaining me now. I'm having trouble getting into actual games. I just have had such burnout since ESO. I don't know what caused it. I have a little bit of an idea, but I don't want to be mean. But,
it was Strafei. It's okay.
No, it wasn't Strafei.
It was totally Strafei. And it was also Yunfei and Jazz.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, totally me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
You know who it wasn't? It was me, because I'm great.
Mm-hmm. We'll just say it was another guild.
What?
And we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we've gone
Right.
over it. Yeah, it's all right.
But no, that was my week, and I'm. Other than that, I'm just kind of hanging out, still doing my running thing.
Mm-hmm. And now we have the new Invader Zim movie to watch on Netflix sometime this weekend.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, enter the Florpus. That's right.
Laugh with me, computer. No.
I don't want to.
I love it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So, what about you, Yunfei? Would you playing any video games at least?
I played some Streets of Rogue because that is out. It's out of beta now, and unlocked some characters. Been watching people play Mario Maker. Mario Maker 2.
Still. I saw there was it for Cat Day? There was a contest for it. I guess with the cat suit in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was a couple places had like a Cat Day contest, so it had something to do with. I don't know what the cat suit in Mario does, but I guess that was part of it. He had to be dressed in the cat suit, and then the level had to be based around that.
You have to, you can climb with it. You can climb up walls. Yeah,
Just
no, I've been
like
watching
cats.
people go through the craziest and some of the most creative levels I've ever seen.
Yeah. That one you were talking about was the World 1-1 that had all the super long fiery things, you know?
Yeah.
Somebody recreated that in 3D in, I think it was Counter-Strike Go or something like that. They recreated that level, but in 3D.
Ooh.
It was hell on wheels. It looked like it was. I don't know how they managed it. It looked really cool. I mean, but it looked very, very hard.
Yeah,
but I thought that was kind of cool too.
I'm not playing it. Well, one, because I don't own it, and two,
Right.
even if I did own it, like some of the levels are just nuts.
Your skills are only so much, right?
Right, like, dude, 1980s reflexes are
right.
gone.
Like of Ninja Guy, and it's not like the original Mario game level of reflexes. I've seen some of these levels. This is like Ninja Gaiden, Super Ghosts and Ghouls. I mean, like old school, like Super Twitch perfection stuff.
Yeah.
They're
Stuff was
insane.
hardcore, man.
Oh yeah. And then there's other ones that are just like, I made like what was it? Girlfriend views. I made a petting zoo. You know, it's
I
just
love
a bunch
that.
of blocks with Goombas trapped inside of them, and every you just basically run on top of the entire level, and underneath you are just cage after cage of different Mario creatures, and that was the whole level. She's great. But no, that's cool. What is the what was the Streets of Rogue? What's that about?
Streets of Rogue is it's a top-down, I guess, twin stick shooter.
Yeah.
Um,
One control.
it's very much.
Where you go,
I don't know
one
if you're
controls what you
familiar
shoot, yeah.
with like Hotline Miami, but it's
Mhm.
very similar to Hotline Miami, and you
Okay.
have a whole bunch of different weird classes. They all have different skills and stuff, and you basically just go through. You have to make it through all the floors and then become mayor, and whether that means you have to get the mayor's hat at the end to become mayor.
That
and
sounds about
whether
like how
that
politics
means-
works. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can bribe him, you can kill him. Like, there's a bunch of different things to do.
I mean,
I'm not really sure how to describe it. It's kind of a strange game.
Yeah, it worked in Conan and Riddick. I mean, you keep what you kill, right? So you kill the mayor, you're the mayor. That's how it works.
Yep.
That's cool. That sounds interesting. I'll have to take a look at that. Some pretty cool indie
I think it's
stuff
on
out
sale
there
right
these
now
days.
too.
Oh, for like we finally released it. Oh,
Yeah.
thank God. Yeah. Yeah, I had some good role play too, and Final Fantasy 14, of course. I joined that. It's the Saint Renette University and Orphanage. So I've not actually done any teaching stuff yet. I've just been getting to kind of know the people and like the limits of things and what they do and all that stuff. But it's been a lot of fun. Higura has had a couple like out in the world events, like not training, history lessons, you know, for anybody that shows up to them about the area, and they walk around, and it's a lot of fun. It's kind of neat, and getting to know the character of Raylan Sepher a little better. He's a ninja, because that's the class I had that was the highest still. And it just kind of played off the backstory loosely of what came before, like 3 years ago when I stopped playing. But so he'll be training kids in combat and how to fend for themselves and the moral obligations of standing up for yourself and against other people, and when to run, when to fight, that kind of thing. But I've been enjoying it. It's been a fairly good time. I have no complaints. The guild people are really cool and just real down to earth, and don't really have, not like a lot of it where they're smelling their own farts and things like that. They're just a lot of fun. They actually say things like hi when people log in, since Final Fantasy XIV lets you know when people in your guild log in and out.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
Is a feature I did not realize how much I had missed until it was there again.
You remember the rule in EQ2 that the boss used to make us say hi to folks?
Yeah.
Look at
nice.
you, Jazz.
It's nice. It's actually,
It
I go out of my way to do it.
It makes people feel wanted. It was one of those things that we did that people really liked. Or when a guild event went through, like you achieved level 20, everybody would say, thank
Congrats.
you. If they were leveling and they were going up, we'd say, congratulations times 10.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's nice. It's actually, I forgot how, just a basic of like, hey, Raylan, when I log in, from one or two people, and that may be all that's logged in, but I don't expect it every time. If some, especially in Final Fantasy XIV, if they're in a cutscene and the window's not there, it could be a while before they even notice it, and that's if the chat scroll behind it didn't get it. So I don't get bent. I'm not like I'm bent out of shape, but I do make the effort, and so does, it seems like a lot of people do, without just by being way of friendly, which is kind of nice. That's kind of how I was like, I like these people so far. They've been really, they've been a lot of fun. It's been fun getting to know, they got one little, even though the name's a ripoff, he calls himself Blind Ori, which is a video game, but he's a little Olafel kid, and was born blind, but they take him around and stuff like that, and it's just kind of, not overly stressful, just easy going and kind of fun. Sit around and talk and get to know each other role play right now. So
sounds like some cool old Silver Circle days, man.
Yeah, that's kind of what that's kind of the feel it has, is from back in the day. So I've really had a good time with it. I'm looking forward to it. And of course the Stormblood got a little better after the main quest, but holy crap, I could see why that expansion didn't do great. They talk about schizophrenic. It really was. I know I said last time that it was like, we got to go liberate these people. Oh, the guy is too strong. We cannot liberate them. We must go, maybe if we go over here to Doma, half a world away, and liberate them, they'll help us liberate these guys. But before we can liberate them, we need to go help this beast tribe, because this beast tribe could help us liberate these guys that need to liberate the other guys. It only got more complicated from there. It's like, come on, guys. Focus on a region. You introduced 2 brand new areas in one expansion. You overshot the mark a little bit. And then they finished it up in that one expansion. So by the time you end up liberating both of them by the end of it, and then there's still the 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, 4, and 5 stories. It's like, well, where the shit is stuff going to go from here? And it got a little better. I mean, at least it was kind of like the aftermath, like the post-credit scenes of how after you liberate a place, funny enough, not everybody loves it, and the people that you kick their asses don't really care for it too much, especially the Garleans, even though they have that creepy little eyeball thing in front of their head that looks like a pearl, but it's supposed to be an eye, and it looks like a gross thing. It's just nasty. I hate it. But anyway, that's the story. If you want to know about it, play through it. It takes a long time. I'm still not through 4.0. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and go to our main topic, which hopefully will be positive-ish. It will be kind of reliving the good old days in a lot of ways for us. And if, of course, anybody listening, if you've got like your favorite role play that you want to share and why it meant so much to you, rpmradio.com/Discord. If you're not already part of our Discord server, jump into the caller waiting room, and somebody will be there to make sure that you can be heard, and also that you're not a complete weirdo. that's mostly for people that actually aren't fans of the show that just find it on Twitch randomly. But so with that, and I'll say that it kind of came about because I kind of was having fun with the roleplay in Final Fantasy, so it kind of made me think of like what makes, just like you were saying earlier, Strafe, how you're not really like, it's just it seems more like a chore at times, and that's totally not how it's supposed to be. It's a fun hobby. It's supposed to be a hobby that is fun, not a hobby that
fun
is
again somehow. But
work.
yes,
Right? Yeah, you shouldn't log in and be like, I mean, I guess I can go watch Avengers for the third time. You know, it's not really. It's not having a good time anymore. So it got me thinking of some of the older role play or any role play that we've ever had that just kind of like it gave you, as Pikachu said, you felt it in your jellies.
Your jellies.
You felt it.
would those jellies give you the vapors?
They might have, depending on your role play. It very well could have. Oof. All right, keeping it positive. Positive. So, you know, then the role playing, it is a tenuous thing, because when it's good, it's great, and when it's forced, it's obviously horrible. And there's a certain feeling of excitement and anticipation when it all comes together. You know, you got a good character, the people around you, the guild, the community, all these things kind of mix together, and they just make it fun. And if any one of them kind of sours, it can ruin the whole lot of it. Like a rotten apple at the bottom of an apple barrel, you get one going bad. I mean, we've all been at the Walmart, and there's like, oh, look, it's a delicious bag of potatoes. Oh, this one's black, and it's spread to all the others, and the whole bag is completely ruined. Or is that just me? I mean, I get that a lot at Walmart.
I've seen that.
Get apples at Walmart, dude. They're way too expensive.
Well,
any bag goodies get that, right?
Oh, I love apples, man.
Or potatoes. Potatoes, too. Potatoes are the same way. Potatoes are...
Oh, yeah. Get a rotten potato in there.
Mm-hmm. Get that one with the black on it. Yeah.
Yep.
Get the fungus. Or that white fuzzy fuzz fungus. I don't know what that is. It doesn't wash off. No, it's white fuzzy fold fungus.
It's mold.
Yeah, white fuzzy fold fungus. It's mold.
Okay.
White fuzzy fold fungus. Anyway, so what makes for the best roleplay? And here's basically what some of our favorite moments throughout our illustrious roleplay careers. Anyway, and kind of wanted to put them in there and like what made them so great. So it's more of a discussion. And remember, if you want to share yours, give us a call. First and foremost, for me, it was my favorite character probably ever was obviously Xanis from EQ2, because he's the one I played the longest, and wouldn't have played him that long if I didn't like him. And a lot of that came from the people around me, you know, Jazz and Yunfei and Strafe and Sib when she came around eventually. She was late to the party. But she was pretty okay as well.
I like how he's like, Strafe, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
this guy.
Well, I mean, we were mortal enemies. I mean, you made it fun, but mortal enemies.
Hey, you know.
Mortal enemies.
Where's the love?
Yeah, but we just did so many great stories and things that, some of my favorite moments with him were the stuff that we've talked about before with the Watcher, which was a big guild-wide kind of a thing of him going dark, or me playing the dark character through him. When he went from the whole time he was doing it, he was going from having been a really bad guy to trying to always be a good guy, even around a lot of really bad people. Jazz. But he tried to do good stuff, and then I met people like Vinka and Shard, Yunfei, of course, Vacarina and all you guys as well. But like some of the times some of my favorite times were with like Yunfei when we were talking in like the Feydark is basically like Xanis is the father and her is the student and daughter. I loved that. I love those conversations, or similar thing with like Vinka or Shard. I I've always enjoyed the one-on-one role play myself. I know some people, Jazz, don't really they like the bigger stuff, but I really always dig the one-on-one stuff. You can always really get to know somebody, and you don't have to worry about someone completely derailing everything with like a stubbed toe all of a sudden.
It's also
Or
a good
worse.
chance to kind of grow your character too.
Yeah, because you don't when you're like you there you do have to share stuff as your character to move story along, but you're in a giant tavern and everybody's around. It's not really sometimes it just doesn't. That's not the situation in which to be like, yeah. So anyway, my parents were murdered. It's not really conducive to that. It's like, oh yeah, Orc Raid. They had their eyes gouged out by giant spider legs. And then those eyes were put into a magic potion, and their spirits were trapped forever in a crystal. And that crystal was lost at sea, and then that eventually washed up on shore. And they then possessed a halfling, and then that's how I got my halfling father.
I'm
Not
afraid.
wrong. That is
That's a lot of what ifs.
That was delightfully convoluted.
and
As
not wrong.
As an example. But no, I loved those moments of like teaching and learning with Yunfei, and that one picture you actually drew of one of them, Yunfei. It was just a sketch, but like her being bashful and shy to ask him a question about just life stuff in general. Nothing.
Oh yeah, I still have those somewhere.
Yeah, I know. I do too. But she's all they're just on a giant cut up tree trunk in Calethin, and they're just chatting away, and I just loved those kind of moments. They're always, I don't know, there's just something about them that it was enjoyable because it was spontaneous. It was very organic, and I think that's why I liked it so much. It felt like something that would happen between a father and a daughter. And now that I am actually a father and have a daughter, it does happen like that pretty much. It comes usually out of nowhere when they're not being butt stupid. Not that happens, right, Jazz? Kids are always smart. They're fantastic all the time. They never want to... You never, ever want to hit them with a bag of oranges.
Never.
No, it doesn't come across
The
your
love
mind
is just
ever.
so intense.
And they always do the smartest things.
They
the
do.
navel oranges or the ones with seeds?
Do I have to pick? Really?
I mean,
You're going to make me pick?
some are bigger than the others.
Those ones you see being sold by the Shriners on the side of the road. How's that? A big 10-pound bag of oranges. Oh, you guys don't have those there? Yeah, that's local.
I mean, it was in Dallas, but I hadn't seen it in years.
Yeah, we still have them every now and then.
Big bag of orange. We'll go with that.
Big ass bag of oranges. Another one too. We've talked about him often. It was a little guy named Neelok.
Yes.
He was a great counterpoint to Xanis because he was played by a little shit, and he was a great little shit. I only say that because he lied
True
to us
story.
about his age, which makes him a little shit. But he was a good guy, and he played a great character. And he was never adverse to, he knew he was basically the Starscream of the guild. For any of you Transformers fans out there. And he just he constantly was plotting and trying to needle behind the back. But unlike Strafe's Rengots, he wasn't good at it.
He was Skeletor.
Yeah. He
was terrible at it. He always got caught, and the Valkyrie
Always.
would take him by the ear, and
Or the one time Xanis picked him up off the tallest tower, and by the neck, and then dropped him, broke both his legs because he was being so annoying. He just gave it, like, what? You know what? You'll survive. Thump.
Part of me thinks he liked getting caught.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, I have
He
to
did.
admit that was probably more likely.
But
Sealy, he enjoyed the confrontational RP, and he
And
was
he-
driven to it, and that's fine. We needed that.
Right,
It
but
kept
he
the
did.
guild
And he
active.
didn't. He kept it in character. He knew
Right.
out of character that he was good with that, so he never got upset when his character got beat up for getting caught doing stupid shit.
He'd
Yep.
pull the Skeletor. Next time, Mom!
Yeah, exactly.
He was one of the few people that I was super surprised that came to actually love Yunfei. Because we were standing there once. I think we were waiting for people to show up. But anyways, it was just him and I, and we were standing there. And he he was talking to her like, I don't like you. I want to be the favorite kid. And he was just
Right.
going on disliking her. And he's like, if you were anyone else, I would just murder you right now. And then
Oh, how funny.
I knew he was weak.
a little while later, someone outside of the guild threatened Yunfei. And like she started to kind of stand up for herself, and he stepped right in front of her and threatened them right back. And he called her his little sister and everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Aw."
It's okay for me to pick on her, but fuck you. I'm going to beat your ass if you do it. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That's
That's a
funny.
good story. But, and of course, training with Yunfei, that was always fun. But also, Vinka was another one. She was a character I knew for a long time.
Also on Rengotz's hit list. Just saying.
And they trained together for a years, honestly. And then one day she actually beat him in a fight. And it worked out that way. He was very, it was very proud of her for that. Finally managing to pin him after all the years of her learning under his tutelage and this and that. And another character was Shard when they would interact. She was a very closed off player. Partly, I think part of it was due to just who she was as an actual person. She was very insular, so the character was very insular and hard to get to know. You really had to work for it. But it was worth it.
I was just going to say, she's like a good wine or a good cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the longer you stick with it, the better it got.
Yeah, it really was. There was a lot of times
she did it really well, too.
Yeah, a lot of the quiet characters, the reason they're quiet is because that's all there is to it. There's no reason for it other than I want to be edgy and dark and mysterious. But there was a lot of story and depth underneath that. If you could, she's like an onion. You mean she gets little white spots when you leave her out in the sun? No, it wasn't like that. Well, I loved the role play with her. Each one of these, it was all good for very, very different reasons. And each one grew, and all these things were all happening at the same time. So each one grew and grew into a greater whole that transpired into the entirety of the role play, and that just kept things going. There was a lot of stuff too with Vacarina. There's so much. I mean, it was all pretty good for the most part. I think my favorite moment had to probably still. I know I've told the story. Was our very first. Not our first interaction, but our first real interaction when she tried to get it on with Xanis, and he told her no for apparently the first time in her entire life.
Yeah. What do you mean, no?
Right. Look at me. My polygons are busty and good looking. Yeah. But no, yeah, that was one of my. It's one of the first interactions, and I still think it's probably one of my favorites. And we had a lot. But that was
punching Ren in the face with that crazy geode stuff that we were infected with, man.
That of course was good. I mean, don't get me wrong. It. Yeah, you had that.
Ahead,
yeah, I remember that. The Fire Angel was slowly crystallizing and cocooning. Yep.
Oh yes.
He hit you with his rock hand.
He's kept baiting out the guild leaders, like to see if this Ilharn set on his laurels. Nope, pop.
Whack. Nope,
Ren's
he can
head
still move.
Snapping back. Blood is streaming down his nose. He ricked his head back and just grinned at him like, you fell to your anger.
Yeah. Meh. You had it coming. But
he did. That was fun, though. It was fun.
Yeah, though that was it. As I said, there was a lot of really good moments. But yeah, I think that with Jazz, at least, the very first interaction was probably the most memorable because we actually became friends because of it. Whereas, I was like, oh, she turned me, and I told her, I was like, I just don't do that. And I was like, and that's probably the last I'll ever see of this woman. She's probably just an ERP hound, and that's all she wants. Because you know how they are.
I mean,
I didn't know her that
love
well,
Jazz.
so
I'm not saying no.
It was a perfect. How many times have each one of us been like, oh, especially you women. Oh, that's such a nice person. And, oh, no, I don't want to ERP with you. Ghost.
Yeah.
They're gone.
Yeah. No, and and the thing was, I remember after our interaction, I was talking to my husband, and he was like, what? He wants to actually RP? Like, I know, I'm so happy. I think this is going to be really cool.
And I was like, and there she goes again. And there she goes again. There she goes. Yep. She's gone forever.
I was so tickled.
So, color me surprised when I got a tell like the next day or two or whenever I logged in, like, hey, you doing anything? Like, what?
You probably instantly made the friends list.
I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, no. Wait, I honestly never thought I would hear from you again.
I was so tickled that I had found somebody. I mean, and the thing was, people assumed that I did a lot of ERP, and I really didn't. A lot of people would rather fade to black and just say something happened, and I was fine with that. But a lot of people didn't know that, and I didn't advertise it.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of ERPers, and they wouldn't have roleplayed with my character if I didn't ERP. And I was right about that, because when I did actually stop ERPing completely, I lost 70% of my roleplay, just boom.
Yeah.
And it was hard to take for a while. I eventually got it back with other people that were better, obviously, but I knew that would happen, which is why I didn't at the time. But I think a lot of people were under the impression that I was like sitting there going, no, I was tapped out, waiting for the next thing that these slow ass people would actually type.
And then you'd go back and be like, oomph. Really? I waited 5.5 minutes for that? Wow, you are disappointing in so many ways.
Yeah, it was like that a lot, because I was like, really? That's the best you go? Okay.
All right.
So then I would type my thing, and then I would tab out again and go back to doing whatever I was doing.
I'm banging your cervix. Yeah.
Yeah. Until I would see something stupid like that, and I'd be like, okay, we have to have a little chat real quick. That doesn't happen.
Quick biology lesson.
Yeah. Time for a biology lesson. That's not possible. Yes, it is. No, it's not. I have a
saw
vagina.
it in an anime.
I can assure you that isn't possible. Now.
But no, that was probably, I honestly, I don't even remember. I don't remember how I actually met Yunfei exactly.
We were in Vagabond Nights together, and
it was just through Vagabond Nights, right?
Yeah, we knew each other vaguely through Vinca.
Okay, yeah.
And then when we had talked a couple times out of character, and when the Echoes of Fedor came out.
And the Fae came out, that was,
And the Fae came out, both of us got in the beta, and we were like, well, hell, let's just meet up. And
right, yeah, and do it together, yeah. Yeah, and in the beta, I got one really awesome piece of armor, and I never saw it again when I played the actual game.
That's something that surprises me. Like, I'm surprised we hadn't Vinca on here as a guest at all, because she was a pretty cool role player. Back in the day.
She just kind of she's a teacher now. I know that much, and after she went to Princeton, she just sort of fluttered away. I know she's still around somewhere, but I don't know. I wouldn't even know how to get hold of her. Or do I?
Or do you?
No, last I saw, she was a teacher somewhere now. So hopefully doing good. And of course, towards the end there was that what's her face, Helan? Is that anyone remember that character? Sibs?
It's Helan.
No, I remember her.
Helan. Yeah. No. Yeah, Helan, when I role playing with that was, we came back to EQ2, and that was a lot of fun too. I really did enjoy. Helan was a better person than most people deserve to be. In a world like that, but
she touched people when she sang, and that's just weird.
Yeah,
you gotta be touching folks.
Yeah, but that's on her thing. So,
yeah,
but
I'm just trolling.
Just it was neat having someone. The thing that was cool about it was I had somebody that I actually loved in real life and was married to, that loved and started to get into the game and got into role playing and stuff like that. And unfortunately, the rest of the game was, pretty much falling apart and completely shattered at that point. So there wasn't a lot to stick with. But I do remember how excited I was to when we actually went there, and how much fun it was. I know it was a transition for both of us to figure all that stuff out. We'd had some pretty rocky stuff with our exes and all that stuff that left a lot to be desired that we all had to work through. But once we did, it was a lot of fun, and now it's just I hopefully we could do that again someday. But right now it's just that there's no game that both of us want to play ever at the same time, or that a role play and stuff like that. She's not huge on Final Fantasy 14 or ESO, and I'm not good on ESO either. So, and there's just not a lot out there anymore. So we just kind of, I guess I just have to cope with having her in real life. I suppose. I guess that's just gonna have to do for now.
I'm sorry to be a burden.
Yeah, well, try to be better. Yeah, just saying. Yeah, start making some better MMOs out there that we could play together again. So bad. Real quick too is one secondary character was Valen Gray, Star Wars Galaxies. Even though it was so long ago, I don't remember a lot other than it was fun. I remember having a good time. A lot of PvP combat on my Terrascasi Master. Actually getting to play, which is funny because he predates Xanus and he was a monk, which I think is where I got the idea to play Xanus as a monk. Funny enough, now that I think about it. The game itself, it led to a lot of great and fun moments. The player housing was fucking awesome. Having different planets you could go to in the Star Wars universe. Very, very interesting classes like the dancer and musician that made for some very interesting roleplay when people can actually do the shit they say they're doing. Like someone like you, Sib, on Halan, how you danced and stuff like that. Had you played Star Wars Galaxies, you could have actually done that.
Yes,
and it would have looked really good. On top of all the singing and stuff, the emotes and stuff you did, you actually could have incorporated a lot of the dance moves in it, and no game does anymore. So, that was, for me, that was just it was just so great. It was a lot of fun, and apparently we missed something here. So that was with me. What Hellcat says, it's true. And what annoys me is the Fruta RPers with schlongs that are 3 feet long. What are you trying to screw, a horse? Certainly not me. Bye, Felicia. That happens.
There's always those guys that have to be like they're these little guys. They're little, and they're like, he has a schlong to his kneecap. No, you don't.
Yeah. It's like Austin Powers' father. Oh, look at that! You're a tripod, aren't you? Talking to Mini-Me. He's like holding himself up with the middle leg. It's just not right. Yes, that does get old. But so that's kind of my tender feely stuff. So with that, I give the floor to Chaz.
Okay, so my favorite character, hands down, was Vakarina in EQ2. I played her the longest, so that's probably part of the reason as well. 11, 12 years total. 7 straight years. She was a mean, vicious, complicated witch of a character that people love to hate, sometimes too much. I had a lot of people who mixed who thought that I was as evil as she was, which is something that you come across a lot when you play a villain.
Dark elf in Iowa. Just saying.
Yeah. I'm really not a dark elf. I'm a short, fat, white housewife living in the middle of Iowa, guys. I'm really not Vakarina. Trust me.
She's a dark elf.
I sunburn in the sun, guys. I do not have black skin. Literally ebon colored skin and red eyes. It's not a thing. Anyway, some of my best moments were when Vaka was at her worst. Like my scene with Xanus that first time. She had come across Xanus in the tavern and had been watching him for some time, knew that he was actually from Kino. She had sussed that out. I Sealy and Sealy followed him through the sewers once, which I thought was a lot of fun. He knew I was there, but Sealy, but I Sealy he didn't. She was fascinated with him, and so she put on the charm and she got him alone. And I did fully expect for it to go a certain way, because that's where it always goes. And then Vaka has all these people that she's manipulating in that fashion, and she was perfectly okay with that. She was ready for that, and instead he was actually a good guy and was like, I can't do that. What? Blink, blink. What? And then when Sealy told me he did an ERP, I was like, oh, that's neat. Okay, cool.
Oh, that's neat.
It was so unusual. I would actually have to sit at my computer for 3 hours,
That's new and different, and I would like to subscribe to your newsletter.
Yeah, so I was tickled. That's not to say that I didn't have fun.
Right.
With
well,
ERP,
yeah.
I do enjoy it in the right context and at the right time. And I have to say that Rengots and I both played at the same time late at night. And Vakarina seduced Rengots early on, and then made him.
A while, darling. I'm just going to say that.
Oh no, it did. She had to wear him down because he was the unfeeling assassin, and he was really good at that, by the way. And he hated her.
Well,
and
there was a reason.
She kept.
She figured it out, but yeah.
Yeah. She poke until he just went. Yeah, it was fun. We had some great roleplay moments with that. Part of the reason that I enjoyed my roleplay with Rengots was because he wasn't obsessed with ERP, and if we were busy and we needed to fade to black, we did. If we had other things to do, or if somebody, which is what always happened, was interrupted because something happened in the guild and they needed mommy's attention. Then,
Red River bloodworms.
Yes. Which Zot loved to do on purpose.
That was a very real threat, though.
Anyway, but one of my best moments, and it's an ERP moment, and it's a ERP warning for people who need to cover their ears. I'll give you a little background. What had started this was because he tried to kill her mate. She carved runes into his chest with a knife, and made him kind of her puppet, and she owned him. And it wasn't, nobody else knew this. It was not something that they told people, certainly not Rengots, and Baka didn't tell anybody either.
The stipulation was, look, I own you now. Mm-hmm. You can't have anything that I don't know about. And she carried on and she could activate the ruins and make him dance a jig if she wanted to. Literally, he was a puppet because she had done this to him.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And she didn't use it often, but he knew it was true because she'd done it a couple of times to prove her point when he pissed her off. And one of the stipulations, like he said, was anything that's yours is mine. I own you. I own your life. You cross me, I'll find out, and I will punish you. And I will punish you in a way that you will not enjoy. And he had a secret lover.
Enter Mistra.
And Vaka suspected, and she had come to him and said, so, this person, are you involved with this person? And he's like, nope, we're just friends. Are you lying to me? Nope. Because I can find out. I'm not lying. So the player of Mistra and I had a great deal of fun with Vaka trying to find out if he was lying or not. Because even though Sealy we all knew, we had to have it happen IC where she actually figured it out. So it was a lot of fun. It was about, I want to say 2 or 3 months worth of RP, finding out if she was indeed his lover. And one day, while he was having one of his secret meetings.
Yes, and it was, let me just tag this in because it'll be more interesting.
Okay.
Those runes were powered by her blood, Vaka's blood, corrosive. It was demon-like. Well, Mister was half succubus, and she played it really well. Her daughter was more full-blood Teardow. But Rengots is like, well, let me see here. I can replace the blood, lessen Vaka's control, free myself, and then wreak havoc on Silver Circle. Yes, let me put the charm on Mistra. So this is how this started.
Yep.
And then Jazz, and then she eventually found out. Sorry, Jazz, I just wanted to tag that in.
No, it's a good idea to explain the backstory of why Vaka was furious when she finally figured out he'd been lying to her and she had to punish him.
And he did like Mistra. That was the
yes,
really bad
part. He had grown fond of her, and that was not allowed at all because Vaka did not share, even though she expected every man in her life to share. She did not share.
Right.
So
hypocrite.
She waited until he was there with Mistra and a bunch of his little assassin people.
It was my Skeletor minions, let's be real.
Yes. He ran a branch of assassins that worked for Vaka, but really were working their own agenda as well. But he wasn't sure she knew about that, but she did. So she waited until they were at their little meeting and she just showed up. And it was very funny because it was a lot of backpedaling while they tried to figure out how she knew they had been meeting that day and everything else. And Mistra is in this pool and she's swimming around and being very sensual. And And Vaca strips in front of all of these people and gets in the pool with her, and they proceed to get it on in front of these men. And she gets her off right in front of Rengots, and she reaches out, this was so funny, and grabs Rengots' leg at the climax.
Yeah, it was Mistra. And Vaca had told Ren, "Are you guys going to stand guard?" All right, we're all sworn to the matron. All right, so we had to do this. And so she starts pulling this antic. Oh, dude, I was pissed. It was funny. OC, but I was like, oh my goodness, this is happening.
Rengots was so angry, he was shaking, and she reaches out and she grabs a hold of him when she's in the throes of whatever. And Vaca looks right at him as she's finishing Mistra. And when she was done and Mistra's laying there all purring and everything, she looks up at Rengots and she says, "What's yours is mine. Do not repeat this mistake."
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, it was great.
But anyway,
it was he did, but it was a lot of fun. That was probably one of my best moments where Vaca was Vaca and Rengots was Rengots, and there was this culmination of role play that took months that all came into this one moment.
Mm-hmm.
Pun intended.
Spawned worse reprisals from that.
It's just how it should go. Yeah.
Yes.
It was good. It was.
There was a lot that happened after that. That was, and it actually kind of spun into the next one. The second best moment that I had was later, and it was a consequence of this one in the sense that Mistra's daughter was screwing her husband at the time, Greiger. This was late. And she was also our head healer. And she betrayed Vaca's trust and told someone about something that she was not supposed to, and she did some things that were bad. I don't even remember. It had something to do with Vaca's blood and telling someone about what Vaca is or something like that. It was that vampire guild, remember?
Yeah, because even her mother disowned her daughter after that.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. was so mad at her for doing that. It's the same player, by the way, but different character. Her mother disowned her because of what she did to Vaca. Anyway, the penalty for such things is death. Vaca, rather than put her on trial, she was angry and she didn't want the world to know that Greiger had done this to her and that, what was her name?
Midnight
had done this to her and betrayed her trust as a healer. She told Greiger the next time that you are, and Greiger didn't know that she knew they were involved. So what she said was that night, she was like, "You're going to go meet your little princess and you're going to kill her. And I want proof, Greiger, when you come home." So he came home with the blood and all this other stuff and proved that he had killed her because she was pregnant with his child. He also brought proof of that. Well, he didn't. He just helped her fake her death and escape. Well, Vaca knew that was going to happen, but I did not know because they all told me that it happened. They didn't tell me. I found out over a period of about 6 months what had actually transpired, both OOC and IC. Vaca found out before, after I had found out OOC, but I waited. I didn't even tell Greiger. Greiger didn't know that I knew. And Midnight re-rolled her character as a different name and changed her looks a little bit so that she could live as this different person. And then Vaca chanced on her one day in the city. Freeport,
yeah.
She chanced on her and walked up and said, "Well, hello, my dear. I think I know you." And she was like, "No, I don't think you do." And Vaca was like, "You must just look like someone I remember." And she walked away. And Midnight sends me a tell. She's like, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." How did you know? And I was just like, I didn't until just now. And it was really funny.
You just told me.
You just told me, Vasily. But Vaca knew the minute she saw her.
Yeah.
I rolled. And I was like, I was 99% certain, which meant that Vaca could smell the difference. She knew. She was a demon-esque kind of person. So she knew it was her. And she was like, "I want to tell Greiger." I said, "Don't tell Greiger. I want this to be a surprise." She goes, "Ooh, this is going to be fun." It was very fun. So roleplay continued for 2 more months as if nothing had happened. And then Vaca shows up. She has a habit of doing this, by the way. You may have picked up that this is one of the things that she does. She showed up at Greiger's chick pad. Because he had one, and she knew, even though he didn't think she knew. She knew that's what it was.
It's the pussy wagon.
And she showed up, and I had access to it. That's his,
That was his mistake, yeah.
Well, he forgot, because originally it had been something else, and then he redid it. And ideally, it wasn't his place anymore, but I was still on the list. I checked, and I could get in. And I was just like, oh, that was dumb. Anyway, so I wandered in. They're in the middle of some pretty heavy role-playing, not ERP, but heavy roleplay when she just walked up the stairs. And I'll stop talking. He sends me a tell. Oh my God, what are you doing here? I said, this is going to be fun. Wait. He was like, oh God. Mm-hmm. And it was. And she tells him that she knows, and tell Greiger, he was like, you knew, how long did you know? I said, well, she knew for 2 months, but I've known for about 8.
Yeah.
And at the end, he was like, why would you, if you knew all along, why did you do this? And she was like, honey, do you think that if I wanted her dead, I'd have sent you?
Right. Yeah.
I could have sent Tilder and he would have happily killed her. He hated her. I sent you as both a test, which you failed, by the way, spectacularly, and as protection, because I adored Midnight and didn't want to kill her. I was just pissed because she made me look bad and I had to punish her.
That's what you get for marrying that human. Just saying. Go ahead.
So those are my 2 favorite moments.
Passing up ring for shame.
And an example of the kind of roleplay that I really like. I like roleplay that takes months and is convoluted and lots of twists and turns.
It's very twisty.
Yes. My second favorite character was Karivan Sator. She was a Sith, and very much a Sith. She was my first. Well, Vodka was dominant, but she was passive aggressive. She, as they say, topped from the bottom. And she enjoyed pretending that she was submissive to get an upper hand. That was a game to her. It wasn't. Whereas Kriv was honestly just, you will kneel and kiss my feet or I'll kill you. She was very dominant.
Very Sithy.
Yes, she was very much a Sith, and I enjoyed playing her. And it was 7 years. I also played Tor when I was playing EQ when it was slow, so I played both of them kind of at the same time. But Kriv was new character for me. I had never played a character quite like her that was true. Like, unlike Vodka, who had she had a good side. She loved you.
Okay, hopefully that will be there. Sorry about that. The OBS program just up and crashed on me and shut everything down. So, all right, should be good to go now, as long as nothing else closes down. Okay, go ahead, Jess.
Riv.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where I met Vinzo. Was in Tor, who became Caves in ESO. He was her main minion, and she was terrible to him. And she put a collar on him, and she broke him, and she made him hers. And he is now free and serves her will, and is now Kenrick, not Vinzo. But the RP was much like with Vakarina, was convoluted and went a lot of twists and turns. And she grew up a lot and changed a lot in that time period, from this really, truly kind of 2-dimensional evil person to the 3-dimensional person she is now. So I really do enjoy that kind of RP, and she was definitely one of those. My third and last choice is Cial in ESO. I wanted to say Kia, and I do love Kia, don't get me wrong. She's a lot of fun, but I made her to be a guild leader and to run the guild and to be responsible. And she got married, and she doesn't have as much RP as I would like. So Cial kind of eclipsed Kia and became my favorite.
Yeah.
Cial has all the qualities I enjoy. She's broken. She has sleight of hand. She's innuendo, open banner. She's vicious. And she's still growing and changing rapidly. Whereas Kia is, while she will obviously grow up and get older and change and get more wise, Kia is largely a solid persona.
She kind of started out already fully formed.
Yeah, she was never damaged by her. She had a terrible life as a child, but it never damaged her. Everything happened in the right order, so that she's actually a very mentally and emotionally healthy person. Even though she can make and do bad things, she has a better viewpoint of it and handles it better. Cial is much more fragile and much more complicated.
Yes.
And I think that's why I like her more, is because of that.
Yeah. There are things in the future that are really going to test her.
Yeah. So I
Go
really,
ahead,
and
sorry.
she's still growing and changing. So
Yeah.
that's yeah. So those are my three best characters. Marion was important. She was in EQ2. She took the place of Ocarina, and she was a lot of fun, but I didn't have as much time to develop her as I would have liked. And I think Ciel kind of turned into a Marion-esque
Yeah,
kind of character.
I've always got that feeling too, and that was not so much of lack of wanting as lack of EQ2 not being
right, because
steam
EQ2
pile
was
of
a
garbage.
toxic cesspool and could no longer support roleplay.
Yeah.
So
in the
My
games
favorite
level.
part of Miri was that it was Rengotz's daughter, and she finally took power in the house, and it drove Tilda insane.
it did. It was
So
fun.
I finally won. I finally won.
One out of hundreds of failures. Got that one though.
And then his favorite line, of course, because Ericus was playing then, and he was her half-elf little friend toy, whatever he was. Rengots would roll through the guild hall and just look at him. It wouldn't really look at him, but would just pause and stop like anime style and not look directly at him and say, if you knock up my daughter, I'll kill you. Carry on. You walk away.
That whole walking over or talking over the shoulder kind of thing. Yeah.
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 It's always
Never
very
moved his head.
effective. Very effective. All right.
And he
so-
came and told Marion, and all she did was laugh. He's like, "No, this is not funny. I think he was serious." She goes, "Oh no, he is. That's
Oh,
why I
he's
have a tattoo.
absolutely-
You're fine."
He's absolutely serious. It's still funny though. All right. Well, next up will be Sibsies.
Me?
You're next.
Sebzes.
I'm next.
You're
I thought
next.
Shafay was next.
Well, that's
Oh,
why
no.
you don't get paid to think. You
Yeah,
just
I
paid to
know.
look pretty.
Oh my
and-
god! I don't know.
Dang.
I would so hit him.
You just paid to look pretty and do your role play. Now do it. Do it, woman.
Okay. First would be Voli and Trash Story and ESO. The way how they at first hated, or she hated him, and he was always so charming and complimentary. How the role play evolved between them, I really enjoyed that. It was fun and kept me, into what was going on. I love the different aspects of their characters, and I was like, this is never gonna work because she's an orc, of course, and he's a high elf. So it was like one of those crazy, never gonna happen. But as it went along, the RP made the story come to life for me, and it made me want to invest my time playing the ESO and writing for it. I loved writing. What did you put up? Oh, you're distracting me on Discord, sir. And there was a lot of good stories with them, but I think the one that I really enjoyed was the one they had ended up at the Withered Tree Tavern together. And she had started to realize she was having feelings for him. And the night before, he had said how beautiful she was, and it pissed her off because her backstory was, she was an albino orc, and her tribe basically disowned her for the fact that she was so different, and they thought she was a curse. And her mom was killed because of the fact that she was so different. So it had always been just a sour topic for anybody to say how beautiful she was, because she didn't believe it.
Because she's an
But-
ugly albino monster.
She has tusks, and she knows how to use them. But they ended up at the Withered Tree, and she was already in a pissy mood, and because the bartender had told her that she was beautiful, and so that had set her off instantly. So Trath shows up, and he's, being Trath, complimentary, charming, and at one point she just got tired of it, and she kicked the table across the balcony.
They had a fight
and into
the
his,
night before, if you remember.
into his waist, and then as it was going across the floor, she scrambled up and over the table and clocked him right in the jaw.
Decked him right in the
And-
right in the face.
Yeah. And Caves just happened to be there, who was her mentor and trainer, and he actually had to step in and put her in her place because she was going to pummel him. But that was a lot of fun RP, and like I said, it just led to the fact that the story, evolved, and it just was a lot of fun for me. It really made me want to invest into it. So that was probably my most favorite one. I would say my second one I have up would be when I got to perform as Halan in EQ2. And that one I would say was really one of my favorites because the writing and creative freedom I got to do with that, it was a rush. I mean, I've never felt anything like that before. And I have to say, one of her favorite songs that I did was Sally's Song off of Nightmare Before Christmas. It was a lot of fun. And she performed it at several different venues. I know one was the Carnival and one was the Maiden's Fancy. But I put in a little section of it that I was going to read because I was going to show how creative and kind of give you an idea of what it was like behind the scenes. But in EQ2 you could do so much. It was just I've not played a game like that since. But no, okay. Starting it, you do /emote or /E, and it says comes to the center of the stage and kneels down, bowing her head. She has a dark blue dress on that is tailored to fit the curves and swells of her womanly form, displaying her body in the most arousing way. And I will say, you could do stuff like this, and people, even though you didn't have the music actually playing, it gave people it fed to their imagination.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the part that I really loved doing. But around her wrist and ankles were very expensive looking thick jeweled bracelets that almost looked like shackles, the way they hung loosely around her slender wrist and ankles. Her long black hair secured up, wisps of hair drifted around her beautiful face. Teal eyes are lined heavily with black shading her high cheekbones, giving the impression of bruising. Her full pouty lips painted black, a neckline matching the bracelets. A necklace matching the bracelets wrapped her thin neck, giving those looking the impression of a collar. But that's just, that was just like the first intro to the song. And it really was a rush. The minute you walked out or you were, they announced you, it was just very addictive.
Mm-hmm.
And I have probably anywhere from, oh gosh, 40 to 50 songs actually wrote out like this, because I would take a whole day and just go over this. And you could put they had because I would copy and paste all this into the chat log. And you had like little music notes you could put to indicate you were singing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a really, just, I don't even know how to explain it. It just was fun.
Well, and when you're the part of what it was too is you're doing when you did this, it wasn't like it was like you and like 2 or 3 people. It's a dozen to 2 dozen people actually watching. It was like you always had the real like performance jitters. You used to get so nervous beforehand. Even you had it all typed out. There was nothing at that point. There was really nothing for you to do but copy and paste it.
Yeah, it was.
You would still be like, my hands are shaking.
I know.
Yeah.
It was a rush. I mean, it really was. It was like I could not wait to do these. And I mean, some of them were flops. Some of them were like really accepted well. Like this was one of my favorites because people really liked it. But I think I wrote one up for me and our Halan and Xanis.
We did a
and it
couple.
was, yeah, that, can't remember the one though.
There was one. It was Michael Bublé does it, but it was the one where you can dance with the guys, but remember who you're going home with, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And he spun her around, and he was singing, she would be dancing around kind of dancing around the people on the floor and like, you know, like doing like the old cabaret not cabaret, but like the old lounge singer stuff, like flirting with the audience while he was on stage singing, and then the line would come up and she would come back to the stage, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was just so much fun. I loved it, and I could be so creative. And I remember watching Myra perform, and I thought, I want to do that because it looks like so much fun, and it is so not me because if I'm standing in a crowd, I usually have my head down and I'm looking at my feet. I don't make eye contact, so I'm very not like out there. So this was really out of my wheelhouse. I was like, I remember the first time I thought I was going to puke.
Yeah, it was pretty.
But it was a lot of fun. So that was another really high moment for my RP, and it really made me invested in EQ2. I mean, those ESO and EQ2 are probably my two favorite games, which is really sad because right now I just cannot get into playing anything.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know why, but I'm hoping it'll go away eventually and I'll be able to get back to it.
Yeah.
My third one, I have to say, is I love guild and community events. They make me happy because you don't only get to interact with your guild, which, I mean, a lot of the guilds I've been in, I've known Jazz, Strafe, Uni, just because we've kind of traveled from game to game. But when you have a community event, and I know EQ2, going back to it, they had tons. They actually the devs would bring in or come in and decorate an area so people could have a game-wide community event.
Yeah, and it was only on Antonia Bale, too, that they would do that.
And it was fun, and you met people that you wouldn't, normally get to meet RPing in your small circles. And so it was those things I really enjoyed. And I even though it made me super nervous, I still had a lot of fun with them. And with, Xanus's help or Ashen's help, I was able to, I actually hosted some of them. Like I remember the Halloween ball in EQ2. It did end on a sour note, but I'm not going to go into that because this is supposed to be a happy time. We had probably anywhere from 40 to 50 people show up and come and hang out. And we had a costume contest. He had made a haunted house.
Well, I was going to say, not to mention, you got to do one of your other favorite things, which was decorate.
Yeah.
And I made a really good haunted house, which is my favorite thing.
I've never seen any game that you can decorate like EQ2.
It was its own thing. Yes.
If I wasn't RPing, I was decorating or working on a song.
For weeks at a time.
I had this game monopolized my time for years. It was crazy. But I mean, at the Halloween party, everybody was dressed up in costume. There was lots of dancing. It was just fun to interact with people. And I remember it was so nice because we had people that we didn't even know pop in because we advertised it actually on the one of the forums. And one of the guys that showed up, he actually brought wine and introduced himself. And I don't remember his name now, but it was super sweet. And I thought it was so awesome, but it was really nice to actually meet people. And I do have one other thing that I will say real quick that I enjoyed a lot was in EQ2, I actually created a flower shop. And on Valentine's Day, I actually posted on the forum that I would happily mail somebody a description of a flower piece and a special card. And I did it actually in game. And I actually had people contacting me, wanting me to send this to their special somebody. It was really a lot of fun. I don't know. Yeah. EQ2, I don't for me think there will ever be another game like it.
Well, I mean, ESO could have been, but the person limit on the houses guaranteed that it never will be.
Yeah.
That's because in EQ2 you could have 50 people in your house. I mean,
you could have I think there was a limit, but
I don't
Yeah,
know.
but it was something
well
ridiculously
over,
high.
It was like
100 plus.
200-300 people.
Yeah.
You had to
200.
work to. I mean, there would have to be like people.
And
like
honestly, by that point, you'd probably just crash the server that room was
Yeah.
on. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think in all the years that we did tavern events that we ever found the limit.
No, but I loved it. And I mean, those two games, like I said, I know kind of what drove me out of ESO. And it's a shame that I let those people do that to me. But and it's a shame that I can't find my way back. But I will eventually. I think, I just have to give myself time.
Well, and I think another thing, it might be like we've said, just if they like the next expansion that comes out really gets the imagination going, that might be all it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have to wait for that. But those are my good moments, and like I said, all of them. I think I will add on to the volley and trash thing. I've never played an angry
No, you're not an angry
character.
person.
Volley was another character that was completely. Halan was more my wheelhouse. She was meek, mild.
Yeah,
she
didn't
was
even have anything special about
goal
her.
driven. No, she was goal driven.
Yeah.
Volley was like a shithead, young, mean.
She was an orc.
Yeah, so it
Bowie's
was
theme
something.
song was, "I got tusks, and I know how to use them. Suck it to me, I'll bite your face off."
But I just had never played anything like her, and it was
Good
fun
stuff.
to actually try something different. So,
Yeah.
but that's mine. So next,
Yunfei.
Obviously, Yunfei was the best character I've ever
I
played.
did not see this coming.
Yeah. I mean, duh,
I'm
that's-
totally shocked and
that's the name I'm
surprised.
using. This is the name I'm using. So, but yeah, she started as just a little twinkle in my mind. She actually started as a dream. In fact, it was just before we logged into the Echoes of Fedor beta, because I had no idea what I wanted to do. I just remember we were like, "Yeah, let's meet up and
we'll just take
we'll beta together."
Yeah. Because that was
But
back before everybody got into the betas, and that was actually there was only very few people.
Yeah. Yep. And some of my favorite interactions with her, again, obviously, are between her and Xanis, because I remember she started out as this shy, quiet, almost scared little mouse of a girl. And she had she was very naive, very, very naive. And I remember Xanis, when he sort of fell out of the tree or whatever, and she went over to see if he was okay. I remember he looked at her and said, You're either the bravest or the stupidest fairy I've ever seen." And like, for some reason, she just clung to this grumpy old elf, this grumpy old dark elf. And somehow, like, it worked. And I remember then he started teaching her, because he saw that she had it in her to stand up for herself, but it had kind of been not really beaten down, because like she wasn't really abused or anything, but like the other Fae picked on her and stuff because of her colors. Oop. That's my alarm. But yeah, then I remember, like, from there it just grew into this sort of the student-teacher dynamic, and then from there it went to the father-daughter dynamic, which I absolutely loved, because I got to kind of live vicariously through her. I don't have a great relationship with my parents, so it was kind of cool to watch this kid go from this, tiny, meek, fragile little thing and grow into like a strong,
very strong.
Yeah. This strong young woman. And I was really proud of her. She was one of those characters, and some people might find this crazy, but people listening to this podcast probably won't, because chances are you're all writers too. But sometimes you have a character and they just kind of get away from you. They just sort of take on this life of their own, and I think she kind of did that. And she has this really special place in my heart, and I think always will, because I just enjoyed playing her so much. Every day that I logged in with her up until the end, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was definitely a lot of fun. And that's kind of one of those things too, like you said. I mean, I didn't know about it at the time, obviously, but the father-daughter dynamic and how that equated to you in your actual, life because of your real life stuff. That's one of those things you never know when you're role playing with somebody, what it might actually mean to somebody. That it's not. It can also be more than just an escape and a fun little hobby. That you never know what you might be doing for somebody in their, not necessarily that it's a time of need, but there are plenty of people, I'd imagine, through the course of a lot of role play that have been in dark places, and that something like that just, kind of sees them through to the other end.
Yep. Something clicked in that story, and it grabbed onto my heart.
Yeah. And it was, I absolutely loved her. She was one of my favorite characters for him to interact with, too. Because
I was really surprised.
Especially for somebody that was a grown-ass dark elf that would just suddenly swing at this tiny little fey girl's head to see if she would block it in time.
Yeah.
that was his training method. He would just be like,
you
so
just
I was
take
thinking
random
we'd
swings
have
at her.
bacon and eggs and then kick to the groin, like always have to be on guard. That was the thing.
The other thing I loved about her was her ability to just adapt to whatever. Because I mean, she was in this guild of ostensibly monsters, but somehow it worked.
Even Vodka became very fond of her. So yeah,
it honestly surprised me. At the end when I killed her, I heard about the aftermath of it, because I had another character at that point, Alika, that I'll talk about in a second. But yeah, through Alika, I heard about people, like people on the Kino side set up a vigil for her, and like a shitload of people showed up. I was so surprised. I was like, do I even know all of you people? Like, thank you, but wow, like I had no idea how many like, little virtual lives that this character had touched.
Yeah.
And it just blew me away. But yeah, then after her, I played Alika, who I kind of had a love-hate relationship with that character. I loved the class. Defiler was just so much fun. The character herself was kind of opposite Yunfei. Like she was much more jaded, and I think that started to kind of affect me in real life, playing this dark and kind of jaded character. And I realized then that I can't be evil. I just can't do it.
It's
like
not easy.
even in single player, like Dragon Age and stuff, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna play the evil campaign this time. Like, nope.
She has betrayed her purpose. She had such potential.
Yeah.
But I mean, her role play was just, I don't know. Nothing held a candle to Yunfei.
Yeah.
And I think after that, that's probably when my burnout happened. Was after all of that stuff. I'm trying not to be like negative here, but like since then, I've never found a character like her.
Yeah, which is funny because you could create anything you want, and yet for some reason it's rekindling what made that so great. It's not. Yeah. It's really not that easy.
No, it's not.
I have never found a character like Baka.
Yeah, seriously, you could do it. Like, I mean, you could just basically copy paste it. It should, in theory, it should be exactly the same.
But it won't work.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't work at all.
And I see people do this all the time. They just
me
make
too.
their character. And I mean, I suppose I could take Vodka and put her in another game because she is a monster. She's a shapeshifter, etc. She could technically live somewhere else.
Yeah.
But
Or even
Vodka,
if you just did everything about her in the new game, like everything that made
right,
her.
if I just made it her,
yeah,
Well,
it would still not be the same, because part of what made Vodka so amazing was the people like Yunfei that challenged Vodka to be a different person.
yeah.
dude, me and Yunfei were terrified of you at the beginning. And I'm so ashamed. I'm so ashamed to admit it, but like on the Kino side, you had a reputation, or Vodka had a reputation.
No, it was me too, because they
I
couldn't
was
tell
going to
me.
say, no, you're right both times.
Yeah,
People were just
you're right both times.
absolutely cruel about it, and like, but then once I met you, I was like, she's not
Dark Elf from
like,
Iowa.
yeah, like she's
You're
not
right.
like everything I've heard.
Uni, I started off as a ranger, and I'll talk about that later. But I'm tagging into what you said because she had a really bad rep over there. I didn't even know her.
Yeah,
And
neither
when I
did
started playing on the evil side, I was like, people are like, don't talk to her. She's blah, blah, blah. I was like, whatever, fat grandma.
Yeah. I heard this. Actually,
It was rampant.
without
Sorry, go ahead.
getting into too much detail, though, I think Xanis, or I think Ashen probably knows what I'm talking about. But like, one of the guilds I was in, absolutely, like, they basically tried to ban,
They did ban.
Yeah,
they did
pretty
ban
did.
any
Yeah.
roleplay. And yeah, I was like, whatever.
Well, keep
What
it
are you gonna
positive,
do?
but you can keep it realistic. Don't worry about
Yeah.
it. Just, I mean, there was a lot of people, but that, and it unfortunately just happens in roleplay communities. A lot of that stuff was based on rumor from one bad interaction that somebody had because it was a conflict of personality that just spreads out.
Yeah.
That's how it happens almost everywhere when someone gets some
The
people
good-
deserve
the good
their
side of that,
reputation,
though-
but not all everyone.
The good side of that, though, is that she was known.
Right.
That's true. I was infamous.
You were infamous.
You-
Also, by the way, Jazz, you said that Vodka was a shapeshifter.
Yeah.
Well, I lost a bet.
Oh. Most people thought she was either a werewolf or a vampire or a demon
Nope.
of some kind.
I thought she was a succubus.
Yes, well, a lot of people did that too. That's a demon. A succubus is a demon. But no, most people had no idea that she was actually a shapeshifter creature. She was, she could be a lot of things. And she did
awesome.
because she could. And so when people would be like, oh, she's a vampire, she would act like a vampire because they were afraid of that. And a lot of people could not grasp the concept. They thought I was just changing Valkyrie. No, she's a changeling. And I had to actually tell people at the end when I was leaving and they knew I was leaving and said, I have to ask you, what was Vaka? She was a changeling.
Okay.
Essentially. Well, look in D&D, she was a changeling. That's the closest thing you can get to what she was.
Right.
That is
She was a changeling.
awesome, and that explains so much. Because
it does.
Throughout my whole time in EQ2, and even after, and even with Ben, we still talk about it. And I was like, I think she was a succubus, and I can't remember what Ben.
Well, changelings are very succubus-y, actually, because they do feed on people's emotions and they feed on people's energy. Depending on which school you take your changeling from, and I created kind of a mix of various lores to make Baka, but she's a changeling, and she didn't even know that. That's the fun part, is Vaka had no idea what she was until I'd been playing her for 4 years.
That's awesome.
I knew. I rolled her up that way, but no one knew what Vaka was, including Vaka. She didn't know what she was. She thought she was a succubus for a long time.
Yeah. Real quick, too, I like what Hellcat said, which is very true. Take us to heart. If I had listened to everyone who told me not to interact with someone, I would never have met half the awesome people I have over the years. I prefer to make my own judgments on a person, which is exactly what you should do. Never take someone else's word
And I've done that
for it.
too. I've had people tell me, you know, and sometimes they were right.
Right, sometimes it is
but
correct.
most of the time they were wrong.
And a lot of
I
times
heard things
it's
about
just-
Xanis. I was like, I don't know. And they didn't realize that we knew each other.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, first of all, no. And second of all, he's not like that. And you don't know because you've never actually interacted with him. So shut up. Thanks. Have a nice day. They were like, oops, they're friends. Yeah, imagine that, shithead. Yeah. So, yeah.
I don't believe that. Everybody loved me. I was universally
No, they
loved.
didn't necessarily dislike you,
I'm teasing.
but you were a
You were
goody
very-
goody.
Oh, yeah.
Xanis was very polarizing.
Yes.
People
Yeah,
either loved
especially
him or
against good and bad people, because he played
Yes.
that line. Yeah.
People did not like that you stuck to your guns and were an actual good person in game.
Yeah.
Xanis was a good person. And I think that really pissed some people off because many people, especially on the Kino side, and I think you can back me up here, played good people that were evil. They played
Yes.
fallen paladins that were pretending to be paladins.
Right.
They played, you know, this temple priestess who was secretly screwing the Shadow Knight in Freeport.
Right.
I
Whereas
mean,
he was a fallen Shadow Knight that had turned monk.
right. So, but your character was honestly a good person.
Yeah.
And I think that they really disliked that you stuck to your guns and that and never changed that. That was, and then
And
when
he
he was with Vaca, and they were just like, how can he be with Vacarina? She's evil. I said, well, first
he
of
could
all,
do bad things for the good reasons.
right.
You know, if
Maybe
somebody-
he's trying to
yeah.
save her soul. Have you
And
ever thought of that?
And he did a pretty good job of doing.
Yeah, he did.
changing
He
that,
actually
yeah.
helped Vaca become a less evil person.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, real quick, Strafe, if you hold on 1 second,
I can hold.
you hold on.
But I will say before
Yeah,
you
go
held, yeah, she was the evil harpy. Anyway, go ahead.
But all right, real quick too, just before we hit Strafe here, let's go to our call lines, and we'll go to Ericus. Hey, Ericus, thanks for calling the show.
Hello, good evening.
Hey, so you got favorite
It's a
roleplay?
caves.
Yeah, it's just two actually. Start
Go for
with starting World of Warcraft when I had more roleplay knowledge and experience from the previous games I joined and followed along. So I started out my first time ever in roleplay with Warcraft. Was on my Dwarf Paladin. I met this interesting group of players. Their banners, matching robes, holding lanterns. You know, like they're like the holy order of their own group. They're pretty much they took the idea of this holy guild. Pretty much, from what I understand, mostly based off Warhammer. I guess I'm not too
Yeah, I don't
familiar
know
with
much
that
about
franchise.
Warhammer either,
Yeah. They're trying to do like the whole blood ravens and together we should no.
Yeah.
So I got into that ferry boat there. It was a good ride. That's when met another female dwarf. You know, I'm a dwarf, she's a dwarf, and you know, of course, they instantly have to click, right? So, so we so pretty much over the years and the expansions, we helped develop each other's backstory and trust and train through the ranks to get up to like from Squire to Templar and you know and goes on like that. So all these years we played together, I finally decided to like, hey, let's meet. First place we met, they're out in Casmo down there, the pretty much the dwarf starting zone there, pretty much where we met the where I met the guild. Then actually he went and proposed to her character, and you know, more epically enough, I planned the proposal, but I didn't plan for an actual world event to happen. It was the pre-launch for the Legion expansion, and this had this event where Legion invasions like will come in the city starting zones, and you know they'll attack whatever, and all players all around will fly in there and you know kick the demons' asses. So you know, soon after you know she said yes, we proposed, we you know grab our swords and we just get in there and kick the demons' asses too. So I was like, hey, that was a great proposal ever.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
So, and then the best RP moment was actually the whole marriage ceremony was taking a nice, beautiful setting. I've had to thank one of our guild members. I wish I wrote down his whole monologue of this Dwarven lore based marriage. Pretty much is we like Thargorn, like my dwarf's name is Thargorn. Her dwarf's name was Damarissa, and so he goes, Thargorn, you hold. I wish I've known the name of the raw materials used to craft our wedding bands. It was very epic of him to do. So that you're like this material of raw ore because you represent this and that, and you know same as this kind of material. So you'll like infuse that in the anvil, and like Marissa, you're this material as well, because and her characteristics, similar to this. I really wish I copied this down because it was so epic. So forge these stones together to form the two wedding bands, and we do the usual speech of I love you and do everything you want, and then and was like big gathering too outside. So yeah, it was a very good happy moment for both of us. So I really appreciate how everything was stuck to role play, not too much out character nonsense celebration. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I really like how I kept to that. And so my next one was actually in Swartor, when the first thing Jazz character ever said to me was "Get out of the way, kid." No, I'm joking about that, but no, serious. It actually was in EverQuest 2 when my character Ericus finally rose to better ranks. There, he did like, I didn't do all this in character chores of having to write this after every little job I do, and have to play tour guide, and try to behave, and stuck to it because the first character I made, I quit the first time. I didn't like as you guys said before, you can't really enjoy roleplay, you can't really enjoy the game itself.
Right.
And my first experience, I didn't can't really get into it. I was fed up, I was sick of how I was playing, and then afterwards it's like, oh, okay, you know what, I'm tired of giving up, let's give it a go. Different character, different class, different story, let's get it done. And so luckily a lot of other players were supporting me on this, so I was actually glad I stuck through this. And now the moment finally arrived when it had that secret, well, not secret, but it's like a basement where I had that big throne chairs all in a circle there, and this like cave dwelling dungeon
Right.
there, and it's like, oh my god, is this finally happening? It's
The
like you
inner
can now finally,
sanctum. Yeah.
yeah, my sanctum. But yeah, I'm actually able to partake into this actual, serious role play there, because they finally entrusted my character to do this. And I was like, oh, the edge of my feet there, my heart was, I was shaking up there. I was like, I can't believe this is actually, finally part of their inner circle. I've been, following and playing with them for years. And I was like, all right, don't screw it up there. Don't do anything, to tarnish what I accomplished so far. So it was just tremendous, and I always remember it. Something I always like to do in every game is to reach to that goal, pretty much, in my role play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's there. That's funny how many moments are. You're looking at a stupid digital guy on a screen in a room full of people, and you're just typing stuff out, and yet it really is. It's just like it evokes a lot of emotions in people. I mean, I know I've been there myself, so you just get it. It's an exciting thing. It's a feeling of actual accomplishment, and just being happy that it's seeing your work and all these story threads that you've been participating in actually pan out into a conclusion, so that now you can start another story thread.
Yeah, probably a sense of accomplishment. Nothing like buying a level max character level boost there for $75 Canadian currency, and it's like, I feel accomplished doing that.
Right. Yeah. or skip potions in Final Fantasy 14 for $25 a pop. Yeah. That's no. I think I'll play this story. But no, those are good ones, man. I'm glad you called in and gave us.
Yeah. No potions. It's no buffs, right?
That's right. That's right. No yeah. Strafei, we're looking at you. Don't be power leveling people, you bastard.
That was really sad.
That was really sad. But no, I appreciate you calling in, Erica. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
I like to experience in almost every every MMO, you can have that one special favorite moment in roleplay that can go on, talk about all the time. But the one top, basically the top two for me was those, and I'm really glad it actually went well as I hoped. So.
Wedding. Not surprisingly, a wedding would be a pretty
Pretty good one. That's a pretty
Especially
good
when you're trying to develop for years, and like, oh, you spent years to create your identity, so I would take your surname instead of mine. I just looked up on the internet. It's completely,
Yeah. Nope, that's all good. Well, I appreciate you calling in, man. We'll talk at you later.
All right, and thank you for having me.
See you
on.
later, honey.
No problem.
And hey,
Later, Ericus.
you knock on my daughter, I'm
Ericus.
coming after you, Ericus.
Oh, you kidding me? She's child fever. Get her away from me.
All right. Appreciate you calling, Ericus. Okay,
I love that guy.
Before we head off, though, there is one more person I suppose we guess we should get to. I mean, I don't know. Is anybody else? Maybe we just call it here, I guess.
No, I want to hear.
I got him to actually write stuff down for a change, so I don't know. I think I can't even troll him that bad. All right, go for it, brother.
All right.
Let's
Favorite
hear
points
it.
in role play. I mean, and if you guys have followed the show for a while, I wasn't really a role player in SWG or EQ1. I was kind of getting lured into it. And SWG, I did get into it, but there was nothing really too memorable because there was a lot of chaos in that game. Ashen can attest.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'd be doing something and suddenly the rebels were raiding Beston. And
there was a lot of PvP. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, so when EQ2 came out, RP became more serious thing for me. Starting off with Tristari Swiftleaf, my Wood Elf Ranger. He had the benefit of a backstory from his father from EQ1, which was my old Wood Elf Rogue. And a burning hate for Dark Elves, which was because his father trafficked in Dark Elves and had a few Dark Elf girlfriends before he got married to a nice Wood Elf girl and settled down. Brought great shame to his name, and that legacy haunted him through his childhood. Then to the exile to Kinos. So you realize Interrook had he had a claw around this good ranger's heart.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even know it, which was a good flaw. Anyhow, the irony is after a few years of great good side RP, everything in Kinos packed up, shut down, and moved to Freeport. I mean, I kid you not, it was like someone flipped the light switch one day.
Yeah.
And everybody was gone over to Freeport. Pardon me. At that time, I had a player who was a mixer, and that was also my character's RP wife. And she had been following me around, and she had cheated on my character at the time with a guy who ended up knowing fondly as Tykel over on the other side.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Tykel.
Yeah.
I first met Tykel on the Kino side, and he seduced Tristari's wife. And Nalani, his wife at the time, was a quarter Dark Elf, and Ringos didn't know. I mean, Tristari didn't know this because he would have flipped his burgers, as Yunfei would say.
He tried on the character I had before I settled on Yunfei. He tried so hard to get with me.
I'd have no doubt.
That sounds
Dude
like
was
a pattern.
sleaze.
He was a home wrecker.
He was a home wrecker.
More of him later because he comes into because I get my ultimate revenge on him and with Ringos. You guys will all enjoy it. So after this had happened, I was pretty pissed. I didn't know what a mixer was, but I was mixing because I was pissed off that this happened. I'm like, dude, how are you just gonna do that to my dude? Anyhow, I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I want to make a Dark Elf. And so, out of pure malice, I created Rengot Tall and made him everything my ranger was not. Needless to say, this became a fan favorite on the evil side of the RP community. I hated him. Everyone else both hated and loved the guy, and I still don't understand why, but they did. There would be times I'd play Rengots and I would burn out playing, and I just couldn't do it. I had to go play Gormal, which is why, if you knew me back then, you'd see a lot of Gormal every once in a while, and then you see a switch back to Rengots, and they would bounce back and forth. Because Rengots would drain everything out of you. It drained everything out of me to play him sometimes. Anyhow. Where was I? Oh, yes. That being said, 10 plus years of RP later, he had woven into many RP stories and arcs. My favorite being the Civil War. Ren got started in the Silver Serpents Guild, which involves Tykel. I'll go off on the weeds a little bit here. Nilok, our favorite guy, who we mentioned earlier in the show, ran this guild called Silver Serpents. He found Rengots at first wandering around the Blood Haze. And he was there. Rengots was there for his own purposes. That's neither here nor there. But he walked up to Rengots one day. He's like, "You're about the most shadiest looking guy in here. You want a job?" Of course, Rengots accepted the job.
It sounds exactly like Nilok, too.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it was. And it turned out that he had this little company going of mercs called the Silver Serpents. And it was broken into two different sides. Well, Rengot saw it as two different sides. There was the loyal Dark Elves that were loyal to Nilok. And then the other side was run by Tykel, this wood elf who was running all the rest of the mercs. And Asilius and all these other guys. So slowly, which caught the great eye of the great evil Vok in her Harpy Tower somehow. Rengots was slowly setting the guild into a civil war to fight against each other, and Rengots, of course, was dripping poison in Nilok's ear, saying they're going to attack us. But we'll be ready for them, Nilok. This is how we'll do it. Ultimately, Rengots wanted the house to go to war, annihilate Tykel and all his side, because, I wanted to wreck Tykel for cheating on my dude's wife. So when he found out that I was Tristari, he was like, dude, broski, that's freaking you. I wanted to smoke that dude. I was like, yes. And you're still on my smoke list. Fear, fret not, Anyway, he was a good dude. He was just a skirt chaser. But this caught Vaka's eye one day, and she kind of saw where it was going. It still played out that way, but the remnant of that guild ended up being absorbed by Vaka's guild, Silver Circle. And that was interesting. I have a whole story written. That was a story of 10 pages deep. Oh my goodness, that's going back. Anyhow, he tried to sneak it done. I was a schemer. I really was a schemer. This guy. Once we got absorbed in Silver Circle, I then slowly set the vampires. There was already animosity between the werewolves and the vampires in the guild. And Vaka, to Ren's mind, foolishly was like, "You two are like brothers. Y'all can work together, and we can be a rainbow guild of happy evil beings." And Rengots was like, "This ain't gonna fly. There's a fissure, and I'm gonna split it." And so he wormed his way up to Greiger, who was running all the werewolves, and he said, I do hate the bats more than I hate werewolves. And you are far more tolerable, minion. Perhaps we can come to accord, and the spiders will be there in your time of need when we finally decide to rid ourselves of the winged bats. Of course, Greiger bought into this hook, line, and sinker. Then a week later, Rengots went over to visit Tilder. Tilder, my kith and kin. Brother from the days of the proper empire. The werewolves are plotting against you. Of course, he was playing both against the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And he had fully intended, once the war broke out, he was going to wait to see whoever killed off the other side, and like a good Romulan, would then finish off the other side, try to seize control of the house and burn it all to the ground, because that's what he was originally going to do with Silver Servants. Well, he wanted to take control of Silver Servants and move it back to Neriak. But anyway, he would have ended up burning it down, because that's just the way Rengots was. He was very broken, and he was literally he really was working for Neriak. That's the dirty secret of it all. So if he could subvert all this surface stuff and then go back home, he'd be like, "Well done, pat on the back. Now we'll give you something else to do before we send you off on another death mission." Anyhow, now getting back from the weeds. Vakarina, of course, foiled this twice. And he both loved and hated her for it, aside from the other nefarious things she's mentioned before. This spawned a love affair that lasted until we quit the game, literally. It was, I don't know, how many years did we all play EQ2?
11 years.
Yeah.
A lot.
Goodness
About a decade.
gracious. I know I joined SC in 2008, and I was quite proud of my guild badge where it said joined 2008, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had fair weather guildies would come and go, and their join date would always get newer and newer. And mine was super old school. And it was a good point of trollery when they would say, "Oh, well, I was here when da-da-da," and Ren got, and I would say, "Yes, well, I never left."
Right.
So,
Yeah.
jog on. Anyhow, Rengots had indirectly attacked his rival's mate through another officer. One of my favorite scenes of Rengots, besides some of the ones Vaka mentioned, because I indeed love those two. But this was extra special because it kind of tied into that. After she had foiled kind of the Civil War thing, there was still animosity going on between the werewolves and the vampires. And Rengots with his spiders were like, yes, I can still have my way. And while the boss isn't looking. Ringotts later had indirectly attacked his rival's mate, which was Sabri, Tilder's little wood elf vampire plaything, through another officer, which was Greiger, via deadly silver powder-laced device in this box. And when the box opened, it would just shower the whole room in silver dust. And if you're a vampire in EQ2, you inhale that, all kinds of bad things happen, right? You get the idea. He'd gotten away with this attack on a guild member with no proof leading back to him. One of a handful of victories over Vakarina, to her great scorn, which she could never write.
Yes.
There were a few others, but this one was quite choice because she came into Ringotts one day and Greiger while they were in a guild meeting. I know somehow you two are involved, especially you, my most loyal guard. It was like glaring at Ringotts. And I will find out. When I do, I will have some hides. And Ringotts said, I know not of what you speak. Mm-hmm. I assure you do. And now, if you knew Ringotts, this is one of his favorite lines, to deny anything. It's like, Ringotts, what do you know about this? I am but a mere male, and I would not know of such complexities, for I am simply your guard.
God, it makes me so mad.
Even now it bothers her. One of her favorite comebacks was null shit, like without missing a beat. Like that was her instant reply. Anyhow, I'm getting off in the woods. The character was infamous on many RPers I never met knew of my character, and it was a pretty wild run.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people would ask, "Hey, we know this. They are talking about Ringotts over here. Like, how do these people even know me?"
Right.
It was like it's like what Unify said. Like, I was in a few roleplay stories that people somehow knew of me and knew of Xanus, and like we didn't meet any of these people, but somehow they knew of us.
Doesn't that feel weird?
Yeah,
it's so weird.
And it's the same thing. Like there's certain people that we knew and that we never met, but we knew them through the people they RP'd with, and then that roleplay, their character would then talk to our characters about that character, and I think that's how that stuff all happens. They just you interact with somebody, with Jazz, and Jazz, for example, and Jazz then talks to somebody that you don't even know that she's talking to about, and they're involved in it, but they've never met you. They've just and then it cycles through. It's just a game of telephone, basically.
Some of it was later. She made Ringotts the ambassador. He had to go talk to these other. Oh God, Ren hated it.
That was so fun. She did that to him on purpose.
So he put on his social mask of the stuff he learned in the Ebon Mask, and he would go play nice and talk to these guilds and try to establish relationships. So he would talk to the other ambassadors of these other guilds, and that's probably how I got into being known a little more. I can see that part.
Right, but I trust you. It was probably even long before that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I agree. I totally agree. It was a lot of years of roleplay. I think the first time Ringotts made an appearance was I was paid to deliver. This is before Nilok found me. I was paid to deliver. This is one of the first RP things Ren ever did in game. I was paid to deliver a message to this other roleplay guild. I think it was House Beretta.
Yep, that was them.
I was paid to deliver a message to them, and Ringotts, of course, being an agent of Neriak, and he was there to pretty much assess what was going on with the Surface Teardal. Could they be trusted? Did they need to be eradicated? What's the power of Freeport? That kind of stuff. So when I went in there to deliver the note, they flipped out because they wanted to shoot the messenger, of course, right? Because I was a third party sent by somebody else that didn't like Beretta. And Ringotts' words to them after they were done having cow, Ringotts said something effective. "Oh, fret not. There are eyes on the surface watching that belong in dark places, and they are quite pleased with you." And they freaked out. They started cussing Neriak and whatnot, and I just stepped back slowly and disappeared. I never saw any Beretta again, but that was kind of my first foray into Ringotts.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
And that's how I knew. I was like, this guy's gonna be a bad dude.
I wonder how much RP you sparked.
I don't know, dude. There was
by that statement.
He did. He did. The Reddas never forgot him, first of all, because I had to listen to that for like 6 weeks after he was there. That's actually probably the second time that she knew of Ringotts, was having to deal with the Verettas and how angry they were.
So, one another good funny story before I switched to Gormal was, you remember when I mentioned my Wood Elf Ranger's wife, right? His RP wife?
Mm-hmm.
Well, she followed me. She made a Dark Elf and followed me over and joined Silver Circle. And I explained to Valkyrie, look, this is what's good. This is why I left Kinos. This person is this. And Jazz, of course, likes to steamroll mixers. She just does. She's like, cool, said, cool, leave it to me. He breaks the rule. Okay. So this is kind of a diabolical stunt because I was trying to get away from that baggage of the old RP because I was playing Ringots now, and I just stopped playing Tristar. I couldn't play Tristar anymore because if I did, I would get these random tells from tunes I didn't know, but they were the same character. So I literally had to shelve my ranger and just had to fully embrace the dark side, which was good because once you stop listening to the lies of the Jedi, it all becomes clear.
That and the RP is better on that side.
Yeah,
it
really
is pretty.
was.
Yeah. So when she followed me over, she was trying to have the hots for Ringots, and like you have no idea what you're getting into with this character. Trust me, you need to start talking to other folks in the guild. She kept following me around because she knew I was Tristari, right? And I think she wanted that Tristari relationship thing back. And after she broke it, I just couldn't trust her. I just couldn't do it. Right. I was a lot younger then. It was early 20s. You get the idea.
Yeah.
I was like, no. So I set up this scenario where she would assault. Was I a junior officer? What was I then, Jazz?
You were a junior officer. You weren't an officer yet, but you were working on it. Vaka was slowly insinuating you into control.
Right,
because you had said you didn't want it, Sealy. And so she was kind of
I was happy to be a guard, and you saw something else that I didn't see. Anyway, you had see Valkyrie's a schemer. She has all these little schemes. You just have to anyway. I'm getting off track. Anyway, I set the situation up where I had enraged, like she followed Rengots there, and Rengots said something and followed her in Neriak or somewhere. I don't remember what it was, but he said, what do you expect? That we should go skipping? Because she said something like, oh, this meant nothing, this and that, whatever it was. She was trying to get close to Rengots. Rengots was like, what did you expect? Did you expect us to go skipping off into the Greater Fae? Being kissing cousins? Sharing a life in some quaint little villa? No, my dear, I fear you are greatly mistaken. And if you tread any further, I will kill you where you stand. Oh yes, and that time, that meant nothing. It enraged the character, the player, probably so bad. She freaking decked Rengots in the face. He got punched a lot. I feel like Steve Harrington because I brought on because a lot of times I wanted them to do it because once they did it, they crossed the line. They gave in to their anger and then they were right where I wanted them. In this case, they walked right in my spider web, punched Rengots in the face. For some reason, Vaka was following them because Vaka's a creeper. And Vaka just busts out or gets wind of it and dresses her down. I don't know if it was in the guild hall or it was there.
It was in the guild hall.
Oh, yeah, because it went there. Dressed her down. You don't hit an officer. And she freaking rage quit the guild and left. And never to be heard of again. So that was...
I was so amused. It was so easy.
So she got to steamroll that mixer. And it was nefarious. I did a really dark deal. See, kids, once you go to the dark side, sometimes you can't crawl yourself out. You have to play another character. Like Gormal Direfear. Now this guy, this troll, if anybody's familiar with EQ1, you will know that the trolls are big, green, nasty, run with a waddle, great looking jutting chin, the whole super ugly. I loved it. I don't know why I love it. I just love it. In EQ1, I had him as a troll shaman, and he was a blast. And he was one of my alts that I would play every once in a while and try shaman stuff out. So when EQ2 came around, I had made a few characters. I made Tristari. I didn't even make Rengots yet. I made my first two characters was Tristari, my Wood Elf Ranger, Ed Gormal, and I made him a Shadow Knight. It's like Troll Shadow Knight this time. We'll see how that goes. So I already had him. And actually, the first person to join Silver Circle was Gormal Direfear. And this is after he had harassed some Fae or whatever they were. Arsai in the Blood Haze. I think one of them was SC Silver Circle.
Yes, she was.
And I harassed the crap out of her and all in troll character because I was like these guys are jokes. I love you. I love Uni. I love you. Before I say anything else. But when I was in Gormal mode, I'm like, look at these little pipsqueaks, special little snowflake, wing-a-ling, fly around. Get the frack out of here. Like, I couldn't stand it. I was like, look at this cutesy wootsy. I want to step on it with every... Yeah. So I played a troll, right? Anyway. So like Gormal's sole duty was to harass, harangue, and to chase little Faye away. Especially when they were like these Faye that were traded to Freeport. Look, I'm so evil. I'm like, get out of here, kid. Oh, look. Hey, winglings. See this bag? Yeah, there's shiny gem in there for it. But you can has it if you crawl in the bag. Gormal open it big and wide for you. Yes. Just crawl in there. Gormal's got lunch now. I'll punch the bag a few times for good measure. So yeah, this is Gormal, right? And I had such a blast playing this big green troll. Even I gave EQ2 concessions because they went from being big and bulky and fat to someone just put them on the troll slim fast plan. Just gave him a pot belly. And
tall
like,
and lanky and skinny. Yeah.
I'm like, what the heck happened here, man? I was like a giant gremlin. Like, all right, I'll go with it. Anyhow, I'm getting off base. Just giving you a background for that. He was a big green troll who slimed his way into everyone's heart, apparently. I don't know how he did it. I really don't, because everyone loved Gormal. It baffled me. Again, it baffled me. He played the fool, speaking broken common to give the ruse that he was dumb as a box of rocks. But if you knew the troll language of Keshan or Augish, you would soon realize he was a wickedly brilliant devotee to Kazakh Thule. As Valkyrina discovered one time. And it took a while. Even Valkyrina took her a while to catch on. She thought he was a dumb green troll, and she gave him a cheap job in the dungeon. And one day she talked to him, and she caught something he said in Augish or Trollish, which was, "Oh yes, my good sir, you should carry on here." And Valkyrie's like, "What?" And so she started talking to him.
Ugh.
And yeah, Gormal was like, "Oh hey, boss. Yes, I cooked those eyeballs for you. Do you want the shiny ones or do you want the gooey ones?" He tried to play it off.
Mm.
Anyway, Vodka found out and would speak to him in Ukeshan, and he'd be like, "Oh, yes, dear madam. It's quite so. We're going to think of Trath in a big green troll suit.
Mm-hmm.
But evil Trath, and there you go. That's Gormal. Except no redeeming qualities in Gormal. He is what he is. Valkyrina once described him as the most freest being in Silver Circle.
Yep.
Because he was.
Yep.
He kind of came and went as he wanted to. He worked coin. He did this anyhow. So if you knew this, you were in on a secret that he was dangerously smart. Okay, so what happened? So yes, one of the things he'd love to do is he would host some of my favorite things to do every month was to host the Guild Feast. It was
God, those were fun.
It was a potluck guild dinner every month or so. He would feed his own guild mates their own races, amongst other things, and other bizarre foods. The crunchy halfling fingers or candied eyeballs being a fan favorite, or I should say the boss's favorite, aka Baka. She absolutely adored him, so Gormal would make great delight to make them for the boss. Because he stayed in the good light, he could get away with the murders, but he had to keep giving the boss these good chewies. You understand, right? It's all part of the game. Anyhow, so people would come, they had a big blast there. He would cook regular food too, but he at some point got everyone to try the hee-hee meat. And if those that were ignorant to EQ1 didn't know what the hee-hee meat, he would not explain it. But if you knew it was high elf and erudite and human meat smashed together like a schnitzel and pounded together and then lightly deep fried and handed to you.
Yep.
Yum.
It's a classic recipe from Ogok in EQ1.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I loved bringing some of the old troll stuff back from EQ1 to EQ2.
And people pickles.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
And stuffed eyeballs. We had a lot of fun with some gory stuff. It was great fun.
He could also part a crowd during a guild meeting with a mere burble of his belly, which I did a few times. I would literally get into the middle. We'd have these big guild meetings every Friday? I don't remember.
Every Saturday afternoon.
So it'd be in the guild hall, Baki would get on stage like she was the preacher. To have her guards up there. And if I was on Ringots, I was up there, bored out of my mind, talking to Greiger and Tell, saying, "Hey, we should just, hey, what she could do if we both moonwalk behind her in the stage? She can't ban us all, can't she? If I wasn't playing those guys, I was on Gormal in the crowd. At first, people didn't like Gormal, but they slowly started loving him. I don't know why. But he'd get in the middle, And I would have this little device that made little warts appear on me, would like pop. And then I would like grab my stomach and make it burble and emotes. And you could see people just parting the Red Sea to get away from me.
Yeah.
And the Gormal look around like, whoa, what's wrong? What's wrong? Little gas between friends, eh? It's my own brand. I can't just try to share the love. You know, they would flee. It was glorious.
Yeah.
All right. So what else did he do? Let's see. He delighted in doing anything he really wanted with little or no recourse to his actions, which is why I said he was kind of the freest guy there. I don't know how I got away with so much murder, but I did. Perks on keeping Boss Vaca in her favorite foods was why you could get away with that.
Yep.
He once even peed on Natish, an our side that was seeking to join the guild. Then she was an applicant. Remember I said about the whole hate for winglings? Natish was an our side. And she was a cute Arsai, ended up becoming Gormal's official parrot. Sitting on his shoulder, fly over to the bar, bite somebody in the nose or punch somebody in the face, and then fly back to Gormal's shoulder. So when they ran over, they were seeing Gormal, and Gormal's grinning like, "Oh, do you want to dance? You got a problem with my parrot? We can take it outside and I bash you good." It was all a ruse, right? It was to troll everyone around him. Horrible amounts of fun with this character. But yes, he straight peed on her right in the guild entryway where the sign-up sheets were. Because Gormal was like, What are you trying to join the guild? You snack food. What you doing in here? I'm not afraid of you, big green troll. And Gormal's like, Jew will be. Down with his shorts. Out went the yellow stream, the acidic smell everywhere.
And the player played along with it. It was fantastic.
She played along with it.
Yeah.
And Vaca somehow got wind of it and started yelling in the ambulance, "Gormal Darfur, I will have your guts for garters." And Gormal just was laughing as he left the guild. He just was leaving as she had found out.
Got to go.
He also took great delight in peeing in every plant that was on the guild hall premises. He's like, "Look, they grow better with the swamp water," quote unquote. Of course, Vaca would ferret this out and like berate him. "Oh, you don't do this. Don't you do this?" And Gormal would say, "Are they not growing greener?" "Yes, Gormal, but half of them died." But we could eat those seeds because they turn into swamp goodies that way. And it was always something ridiculous. It made people laugh, and that was kind of the point. Okay, what else did he do? It was glorious. Oh yes, I think my most absolute favorite part of role playing this guy was Gormal somehow had made Vacarina so mad that she shrieked in the guild amulet, and everyone was so terrified they went deadly silent. Now, granted, Gormal was up in command with Vaca when she did this. And Gormal grinned real big as she shrieked in rage and scared everyone half to death. And Gormal said, "The faceless be appreciating the good worship she be offering there, boss." And before he got consumed by the fire coming out of Vaca's eyes, pretty much is how angry she was, he quickly strolled away and out the door laughing as he went all the way back to Inithal Swamp. Having one, oh my goodness. I don't know how he got away with the murder he did, but that was great. Because Vaca was like, she knew, even Vaca knew I've been had. The troll has pulled one over on me and then took all this antics and gave the worship to Kiazik Thul.
Yep, generated fear for his god.
Oh, it was great. The surprising part of playing Gormal really was that somehow I made trolls very cool to people. Like at first, people would have nothing to do with trollers. They're ogres. Oh, I could never do that. I don't want to play an evil, ugly evil. I want to play a pretty evil. This is why Rengots was such a bastardo, because everybody who's playing a dark elf was like, "I'm just this evil guy, but I look so dashing, and I'm chasing your skirt. Hey, come back at 5. We'll bang, okay?" Like that's what they were doing.
Pretty much,
Be real.
Yeah, that's about it.
So when I made Rengots, I'm like, we're not doing that. I'm gonna play a really nasty dude. And then Gormal was like, "I'm gonna be a troll. I'm straight gonna be a troll, and I'm gonna be an evil troll, and it's gonna be fun." But through that, players that wanted nothing to do with playing a big green ugly troll suddenly wanted to be part of Gormal's extended family or his clan Darfir is his last name.
Yeah.
Realizing that the liberation that came with crossing over to the green, asked my mom, I convinced her to play a troll female in EQ2.
Yeah, she played Gormal's mother.
It was Gormal's mother.
Even Vaca was afraid of.
The backstory being Gormal fled from his mother, left half his arm there when he was little because, well, his mom's terrifying. And he had a whole story how his dad escaped Momma Direfear. But Momma Direfear was terrifying. Like, my mom loved it. Once she started playing and realized how ridiculous she could be, she's like,
Right.
You were right. This is great. And I'm like, I told you, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
And if she ever showed up at the guild hall, Vok would say, "Oh, Gormal," and I think she was trying to pay Gormal back for some of his stunts. "There's a special guest here for you. You should come see her in the main hall." And Gormal was like, "I was going to get a date," because he was always harassing the females in the guild. "Hey, you should go on dates. Gormal will take you to best places. Knows where the best steaks are and the best wine." And Gormal is quite the smooth guy once he cleans up. They wouldn't have nothing to do with Gormal. A few people would go on dates with Gormal and they realized he was a lot of fun to hang out with. It was just to bring smiles to people's faces at that point. But when he would walk in there and his mom was there, he'd be like, runs away to start fleeing. And it was like a circus going on in the guild hall at that point. Anyhow.
Little Benny Hill action.
Oh, yeah. It was just cue the Benny Hill music. But people will start playing potential mates for Gormal. He ended up getting 3 wives. I don't know how this happened. Mm-hmm. 2 troll wives and an ogre wife. And the great sticking point was because Tilda for a while also worshipped Kazakh Thul, Mr. Big Bad Scary Teardal Vampire from EQ1. I could kill you with a blink of an eye, but I'm too lazy. I'm going to go over here and nom on my wood elf treat named Sabri. Anyway, he had 2 wives, right? And worshipped the faceless. So Gormal always called him, "Oh, hey, the boss wants to talk to you, Tilda. You're kind of down in your quota." "Shut up, troll. I know very well what my deal." And Tilda would play along. It was hilarious. Mm-hmm. And so the best troll I ever pulled on him was I ended up getting 3 wives. And then Gormal walked up to him with all 3 one day and said, "Hey, you know, you can be any inky and have 2 wives. It takes a real troll to have 3 wives like this. Look here. Here's Grunky. Here's his special sister. And here is the ogre wife." And I can't remember her name right now, but anyway, you get the idea.
Special sister was hilarious. It was his actual sister, folks.
It was his half sister, yeah.
Half-sister.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Sister
but
with benefits.
And yeah. And Tilda went along with it. He just shook his head and went, "You are by far the most obscene, wretched thing I've ever encountered." And Gormal's like, "I know. I try real hard at that. Thank you so much." So after all that time, and as I always used to say to the ladies and to other people who wanted to play trolls, I would coax into it. I was like, once you cross over to the green, the rest is obscene. Now he invades the studio regularly, rides around with Hot Jessica and a stolen vertibird. Ask President Maxim, he'll tell you. And sometimes you can see him in a 50 model Chevrolet pickup, green, of course, tooling around. Somehow this guy has broken out of EQ2. We don't know how, but somehow he did it. And of course, the last character, seemed like I've droned on forever, was, of course, just Trithal Silverleaf from ESO. My Altmer, it's been nice to get back to playing a good guy after all these years of being on the dark side.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what, dude? I just can't do it. And so I made Trithalis, rather. And it's been a great departure from the dark side of things, more in line with playing stuff I like to do. His twin brother, of course, because people were pressuring me for the dark side. They love it. They're like, "Oh, make an evil tuning. Why don't you make a dark elf like Gringotts?" I'm like, how about no, Scott? Like, people have any that much that'll drain you? Yeah, pretty much. But I did make his twin brother evil, so I had that option. And it's a happy balance. It really is. It's fun to play good guy that life has punched in the face repeatedly and yet still carries on. And that's kind of how I play Trath. Life just keeps punching him in the face. And it's even punching him in the face now with the current arc.
Yeah.
Because he's being sleep deprived, and it's by magical means.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he lost one of his babies. He lost his fiance before he met Voli. It's been a crap show, but it's fun because you just keep carrying on. It's like Jazz's old quote: "Just get up one more day and you win."
Yeah.
That's kind of how Trath it rolls. So he's fun because he's kind of like Xanus, where he's a teacher to see out. Anybody who wants to learn stuff, he goes into professor mode. He'll start teaching him. He's been an artifact hunter with Farah and Voli. In fact, when he first met Voli, he was kind of getting engaged to Farah, and Voli we just gathered role players together in ESO, and Voli's over leaned up against the wall, like being this angry, like I'm the token odd orc out, and I hate you all. I just want to go kill something. You are sitting there jawing about tea.
Oh.
And of course, Trath looked over and saw this this orc there. He's like, "Oh, a fat awesomer! I'm so glad to see you amongst our ranks." And Volley, the first thing Volley had ever done to Ringots was look at him directly with a sneer, and then lifted her middle finger and like directed it right in his face. Like,
Yes, she was angry.
oh, it was so
Which
funny.
is funny enough, not one of our first interactions in real life.
Oh, that's great. That's glorious.
Actually, it was. Before we were still married to our other spouses and all that stuff, and I was pulling into the parking lot, and it was the time of the Meet the Fockers. So I pointed at my eyes and pointed at her. Well, she misinterpreted that as another gesture and just flat out flipped me off. Instead, when I told her, I was like, I was just doing this. She's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't know."
Asking for it.
That is glorious.
Uh-huh.
That is glorious.
That's the first time I really remember her.
Oh my goodness, I love it. I love it. I mean, Trath brings a sense of regal humor and class to a den of thieves because his niece runs a den of thieves. He's not going to sugarcoat it. He's like, "Oh yes, your little band of
thieves,
soldiers of fortune." Can I say that, darling? Yes, you can, Uncle. Now go away before you see something illicit. Yes, darling. That would be improper. He would leave, right? So my favorite story with him thus far is the losses he's taken. And, of course, the love affair chasing the pale orc, as she had wanted nothing to do with him, as Volley mentioned, or Sibs mentioned, rather. And the actions and the story arc that's currently going on with the past ancestors' actions and deeds. And, of course, his near family's actions and deeds coming back and unfolding and coming back to haunt him, which is what's going on in the big arc in game right now. To any of the wish to be involved, of course. It's like the Watcher arc. Several twists and turns, and it's ongoing, and it's been a lot of fun because I seriously thought Volley was going to kill him. Like when I first went up to her and was like, "Darling, you know you're the most charming, fair, awesome maiden I've ever seen. Why do you talk like that? You're cruising for bruising." And they grabbed him by his neck and shoved him away from the bar. "Get away from me! You're weird." Like it was hilarious. Like it was so wrong, yet it fit his character so much. I don't know how it worked, but this worked out that way. So yeah, those are some of my favorite roleplay moments.
Yeah.
Some more, like you said, there's the people around you, and you have more time to develop some of those characters, and that's why the first two have so much love, I guess.
Yeah.
Because they had so much time invested in the community.
And there's one thing I don't know if you guys caught on to this while every single one of us was talking, and pretty much it all has. There's one common theme that makes all of these stories the actual almost the same story, and that's it. Every single story we told happened organically.
Yes.
Oh,
Notice
yeah.
that?
Yep.
Yeah. Every single all the best role play we've had, it was organic. It wasn't planned out an event.
Not
it wasn't
scripted, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't scripted. It just happened over a period of time organically as the characters evolved, and we evolved also as people and our interactions with everybody. It was all organic role play. That's the one thing going. I actually didn't read anybody else's stuff. I just wanted to hear it for the first time while we were doing this, and that was. I think we all said it a couple. Most of us, I think, 2 or 3 of us said it a couple times. I know I did. Jazz did. I think Yunfei, Sib, Strafei. Don't think he did, but it was there anyway. But it was all organic. Everything just happens. If you can't force these kinds of things, like you can write out your scripts, you can do all that stuff, but at that point you're just writing a story. Just basically just write.
Oh yeah.
To become an author, but write your own stuff. But if you want these things to happen, you can have an idea. There's nothing wrong with having small outlines or areas you think you might want to go or this or that, but you've got to be organic with these things, and that it'll lead you to some of the best roleplay and honestly some of the best people you'll probably meet through this silly little hobby of ours. I mean, that's how we all met. It wasn't our moms calling together and be like, "Hey, I was wondering if Xanis and Yunfei could play together maybe 3 days a week between the hours
That's
of 7
what it
and
feels
9.
like sometimes. Like it's a play date. Yeah.
Right.
That's-
I'll bring the
back then
juice
it was-
boxes if you bring the cupcakes.
No, back then it was like the closest we got to scripting anything was one would send the other a tell like, "Hey, let's do this thing."
Yeah, how much time do you have?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or like, "Hey, I have this idea. Let's go." Like,
Yeah.
and one of the stories, I it's 11 pages long, so I can't read it. But
Right.
it was the one about when Xanis took Yunfei down to the ruins of.
Oh yeah, I read through that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was really really heavy
Mm-hmm.
role play, really heavy. And then he yelled at a Dakota, and
Yeah, and yeah,
and then they ran.
it was
they ran
it was
away.
it was going through the remains of, I think it was the first gate that was in EverQuest 2 from the beginning, and yeah,
Fallen Gate.
Yeah.
he took her through all the way down there, and he made her kill some things, put somebody out of their misery. It was some very hard and heavy lessons, and at the very end there was that Dakota down there that was like
Yep.
trapped and slumbering. And he wanted to show her this for the first time, and he's like, when she was just, all this awe, all this hard work to get down there, and he's like, and there's one other thing you should never do: shout at them, run. And so and they booked it out of there, and she slammed the door, and she's like,
And then they both just started.
What's
laughing.
wrong with
Yeah,
you?
it was-
But
that
they
was
start
one of
laughing.
my favorite stories too.
Yeah, it was, but all that stuff, you've got to let it happen. You can't, if you the harder you try to force a thing, just like Ericus's story with with his girlfriend and future wife, dwarf wife, all that stuff, you can script it out and you can make it happen and it will be fine. But if you really, really want something to be meaningful and something you'll remember for the rest of your life in a good way, just let things happen. Just be open-minded and let things come to you as they come. And maybe, 9 times out of 10, probably nothing might come of it. But that one time, man, that is going to be something you're going to really, really enjoy and probably make lifelong friends out of.
Mhm.
And it's well worth the 9 to 10, 9 out of 10 ratio. It's very well.
You know the
worth it.
story you talked about when Vaca tried to seduce Xanis, and he was like, "Nope."
Mm-hmm.
I have a Rengot story almost exactly like that. I forgot about it.
Yeah.
They joined the guild. and they were
I
just,
was
"What
first.
else?"
That's all that matters. Who cares
Well,
about
yes,
you?
but it's funny because Bacarina once told Rengots, "You're a lot like Xanis," and it used to burn Rengots.
Just twist that knife just a
And then,
little
of course,
bit.
then Xanis said one time, "It's like, oh yeah, do Vaca. Oh, he's a lot like me. He'll learn eventually," which burned Rengots up to no end. But this happened. There was this wood elf assassin named Malari that Bacarina assigned to Ren. And she was burning to get into Ren's pants in the worst way. Little did she know that Rengots did not play with anybody that was not a dark elf.
And also riddled with STDs.
If you were not, if you were not a dark elf, he would not charge up that tree. He just wouldn't do it. And she would like live with him in his house, do all the seductive things, and then one day she just pressed Rengots, and Rengots went, "Sorry,
Gross.
darling, I don't vith surface trash." And she freaking left the guild. I never saw her again. I kid you not.
Oh yeah, but I mean that's in character. I've had several characters that were like my dark elf in ESO is like, yeah, your ears are small and gross, and your skin is like all paley pink and nasty. So,
Yeah.
I'm good. You know,
It's like dark elf Tinder.
it really was. Yep.
Tinder.
But-
Serious business,
funny.
man.
All right. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there. That was good. That was a lot of fun. A lot of good reminiscing. Hopefully, I know a lot of people out there have similar stories. I'm glad that Ericus was able to call in. So
Yes, thank you, Ericus.
yes. So I'll go ahead and start that right there. Music.
Later,
But I do
everybody.
appreciate everybody for tuning in. Twitch.tv/RPMMO Radio. Follow, subscribe, say hi. RPMradio.com/Discord if you want to join our Discord server and say hi and howdy. We do have only 3 episodes left before we close this one down. Maybe forever, maybe if Jazz takes over, who knows? And then reestablish a different podcast, still video game and culture based, and basically us talking bullshit like we always do, and more of the parts where we get off into the weeds just all the time. It'll be all weeds all the time, but without like the legal weeds. It's just like the lawnmower. Anyway. So don't help me. I appreciate everybody tuning in, guys. Really, really, we do. I'm glad to have you here. Hope you're enjoying everything, and I, of course, want to thank my crew.
Jazz, Sibs, Trafay, and Yunfei. I am Ashen Phoenix, and with that, remember to join us next time when we'll go over why halflings don't have any happy RP memories because nobody likes to play them. Next time on RPMMO Radio. Good night, everybody. Music, as always, is provided by Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/HuskyByTheGeek to hear all his great video game rock covers and original music.